Salciunas. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Well, Radio Man, they better not keep Kevin Patullo. Morning, everybody. The season is over. Philadelphia Eagles host the San Francisco 49ers in the wild card round yesterday. A 49ers team that was missing their best defensive player in Fred Warner. They brought back their Hall of Fame left tackle who had to play through injury in Trent Williams. They lost George Kittle yesterday. Brandon Ayuk is nowhere to be seen. And they had linebackers that they signed off the street this week, guys that had been in the league for 10-plus years. And the Philadelphia Eagles lost 23-19. Everything that we feared, everything that we had logical concerns about, were smacked in the face all season long that some people chose to ignore because they kept on winning. And I get it. They kept on finding ways to win. All those things that we talked about, even before the season started with the hiring of Kevin Patullo, happened yesterday en route to a loss, en route to the Eagles season coming to an end. Good morning, John Kincade.
And a good morning to you. Perfect summary.
Literally everything that we talked about that was an issue with this football team yesterday played out yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it did. And unfortunately, a lot of the problems in the locker room, with individuals, problems with coaches, things like that were just amplified yesterday. They were put under a microscope and shown and exposed. Kyle Shanahan was the exposer. I think he was the guy that just made it so obvious that Eagles team wasn't ready to compete. And now they have to go about 244 days of getting ready for the opener. It's a long way and a lot of work to do.
Well, yeah, and there's going to be a lot of changes made. And look, we have plenty of time to do that.
Correct.
Right? We've plenty. I heard Radio Man talking about what's next.
No. We don't have any idea.
I'm not really ready for what's next.
No, we have no idea.
The only thing that I'm ready for is the alert that Kevin Patullo is no longer the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles.
That should be fast.
Yeah, it should happen. It should happen today or tomorrow.
I think it would come really, really fast, and I would hope it would.
I mean, we lied to her, or not we. A lot of people lied to themselves. It goes back to something I said earlier this season, something that I learned in 2023, that talent doesn't always prevail. You look at the two teams on paper yesterday. Which team was more talented?
The Eagles are far more. Well, especially when you take health into consideration.
Oh, my God, yeah.
It's ridiculous how much healthier the Eagles are and how much more they should have been ready to win that game.
But when you take into account coaching, you saw an offensive guru. Why do I call them the San Francisco Shanahans?
Well,
because of that man. Kyle Shanahan figured out a way to score 23 points. He didn't score 30.
No.
He didn't score 35.
Nope.
He found a way to score 23 points against this Eagles defense that has been one of the better defenses in the NFL. There are people that are taking shots at the defense. I get it. It wasn't their perfect game yesterday. What have I been worried about since November, Connor? When Johnny was out for Thanksgiving, what did I say? One slip-up game. And that was a slip-up. That was a slip-up for the defense, allowing 23 points.
Yeah, and I don't consider it a slip-up.
I'm saying to their standards,
sure.
right? Slip-up for them was not holding to a team in the teens. They allowed 23 points, and this woeful offense that I watched play 18 games now.
Can't bail them out.
In which just 5, the offense looked like they were decent. I'm not even saying good. They looked defense. They could not score 24 points against a defense that had starters playing linebacker that they signed this week, John.
They didn't. And part of it is because of the fact is they ignored it along the way.
All season.
And that's Nick Sirianni, that's Howie Roseman, and that's Jeffrey Lurie.
Yes.
They allowed this to continue all year long. They had every opportunity. Kevin Patullo could have been out of here. He could have been out of here.
Or they could have forced Sirianni to call plays. Or they could have given somebody else the opportunity.
And there were, by the way, 2 guys on the offensive staff who have had experience doing that in some way, shape, or form, more than Kevin Patullo ever did. And instead, they did not.
And I bet you if they were ever given truth serum and they gave their real answer would say, well, we did it in 2023, and look how bad that was.
And I don't want to hear that.
And Sirianni took the fall for it. I still stand by it. that Howie Roseman made the decision to take away Sean Desai, to put Matt Patricia in as the defensive coordinator. Nick Sirianni fell on the sword because Nick Sirianni needs to make it known that he's the head coach and he's the guy that makes the decisions. I don't believe that. I don't buy that for a second.
I don't believe that he made the decision to make those changes, and we're in the same page.
And so I imagine that the front office maybe this time around said, hey, we did that to him a couple of years ago, and it got even worse, so we don't want to do that this time. They were afraid of their own shadow.
I
They
don't
were
think he
afraid
wanted
of
to
something
do it
that
to his
happened in
buddy.
the past. Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah, I think he didn't want to do it.
That's what it comes down to. Guys, we watched two guys run an offense as if they were best buddies playing Madden. Right? They're doing the arm bar celebration going up 7-0 in football games. They celebrated as if they won the Super Bowl because they got first downs.
And let's be really honest about this, is he was a guy who, in my mind, when you look at everything that was accomplished this year or what wasn't accomplished, this is Nick Sirianni who decided last week that team needed rest. How'd that rest work out?
I mean,
for
it's
you,
irrelevant, to be honest.
No, but it isn't irrelevant. They nonchalantly, it's when you set a work ethic of nonchalance, when you're the leader, and you set a work ethic of every single team that had something to play for last weekend on the last week played for something. He said, no, boys, put your feet up. You need rest. This team didn't need rest.
Let me ask you something.
They did not need rest, Andrew.
Let's say they played, they got the 2 seed. You think they're beating a shootout with the Packers?
No, they could win that game. You can win a game. More importantly, it's the
49ers.
More importantly, it's the attitude. It's the attitude. It's the country club. We're not even playing for something when there's something to play for. What message does that send? The message it sends is nonchalance. The message it sends is we don't have to be accountable. A.J. Brown took that message last night when he waltzed his ass out the door.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same. It is this nonchalance that they don't, where it's a country club compared to how other coaches run things, how other organizations run things.
I will say the rest probably did help the offensive line because you finally saw your first good running game really all season long. But what happened?
Well, I didn't think
they went away from it again.
Well, I didn't think. No, I think it was Shanahan adjusting to it. I think it was the defense of the Salah adjusting that shut down the
Eagles
running.
Yeah, but here's the problem. The Eagles do the same thing every single time. It's inside zone.
Yeah, I got you.
Like
but
they don't come up with any sort of creative running schemes. Like again, it's been all season long. We saw it smacking us in the face. I know they won the game. Oh, they won. So why are you being so negative? Against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, you and I were there, baking in the sun. And it was, all right, let's try to kill clock. So let's just run Saquon Barkley into Vita Vea's stomach over and over again. And that's what they do. That's what they do. They don't have any sort of creative adjustments. Do you think, and I get it, I don't need all these gadget plays all the time.
He couldn't design.
That touchdown pass from Jawan Jennings to Christian McCaffrey, do you think that even ever crossed the mind of Kevin Patullo or Nick Sirianni?
I like hearing the fans talk, Andrew, about the fact is they go, they need to open up the playbook. Folks, understand this. They don't have a playbook with Kevin Patullo.
No, it's like the same 5 plays.
There was no playbook to open up. They didn't have a playbook. They didn't have some second gear that they weren't using. This was a guy who was over his skis, absolutely incompetent. And they let him do it, and they let him run the car right in the ditch. They let him run the defending Super Bowl champions into a ditch. It's a disgrace.
610-632-0975. Look, we have plenty to say about yesterday's game. We have plenty to say about the state of the Philadelphia Eagles. I know you have plenty to say about the Eagles as well. It's an open forum kind of day. You can text in. You can call in. We want to hear your frustration. Allow yourself to vent today, all right? Don't keep it all tucked away inside. Let it out, 610-632-0975. Nick Sirianni obviously had to speak to the media yesterday. And these first 2 clips, the rest of the way, I think he just wanted to be done with it. But the first 2 clips that I heard him talk yesterday, it just drove me nuts. Here is Nick Sirianni talking about the same story all season.
Felt like that was kind of our story as the year progressed, and like you said, good first half. Didn't do a good enough job coaching. Didn't do a good enough job executing in the second half. In that third quarter, particularly, some penalties got us behind the sticks. We had a hard time overcoming them.
You're admitting that it's been a problem all year. And yet somehow, with weeks of data, you never figured out a way to overcome it.
Nope.
It's like 2023 in a way, when you knew that it wasn't going to work with Brian Johnson, but you sat there, with your hands under your ass, as you always use the plane analogy. The plane's going down. There is a pilot on board. It's Nick Sirianni, but he says,
sits there and just
I don't want to do it. I'm just going to keep my hands warm under my rear end. And you know that this has been a problem all season long, and yet you never came up with an answer. So much so, listen to his answer when he was asked why it was a trend all year. Connor.
I don't know. Obviously, those are things that we always work our ass off to try to fix any situation and every situation that we can. And you know what? At the end of the day, we didn't do a good enough job of doing that. And that starts with me.
His first three,
his first
three words, John. His first three words were the biggest problem. I don't know. I don't know. When asked why this was a trend all season long,
I don't know.
Having second half issues, his answer was, I don't know. We know that because you haven't been able to figure it out all year.
And the same nonsense of, well, we work our asses off. I harp on this so much, it's awful to keep repeating it. But when you stand up there every single week and say, well, we work our butts off, that's what you're expected to do. You make $9 million a year. Stop telling me how hard you work. I don't give a damn how hard you work. Again, you were paid $9 million a year. Don't tell me you're working hard. Tell me you're doing something that is fixing the job that you have, the problems that you're required to do. For God's sakes, well, we're working hard. In other words, don't criticize us because we're really working hard. Just stop. You're making $9 million, and I don't know what you're being paid to do. I honestly don't. You can't fix an offense. You can't. You're no help on the defense. So I don't know what it is, and you just answered the question. What was the answer?
I don't know.
There it is.
That was his answer.
There it is.
When asked what were the issues, seemingly all season long, because they averaged, by the way, in the second half of this season, John.
Yep.
And this counts yesterday's game as well, where they finished with 6 points in the second half yesterday. Throughout the entire season, the Eagles averaged 9.7 points per second half. That was 26th in the NFL. Here are the teams behind the Philadelphia Eagles. The New Orleans Saints, not in the playoffs. The Atlanta Falcons, not in the playoffs. Yeah. The Tennessee Titans, not in the playoffs. The Miami Dolphins, not in the playoffs. Same with the Vegas Raiders and the Cleveland Browns. That is the company that you were with. And the answer that you can give me on January the 11th, 1 week after you're trying to figure out your identity still, was I don't know.
By the way, one of those names you just gave was the Miami Dolphins. Because if I hear one more person, I heard it yesterday, even in the Eagles presser. If anyone tells me about Mike McDaniel, he had all that talent too. So stop talking to me about Mike McDaniel too, by the way. He was another one who didn't have any answers with all that talent. So stop. Stop with Mike McDaniel. I mean, my gosh. It was so bad yesterday. But here's the difference, though, guys. Walking out of that building last night, there was a problem. And if Jeffrey Lurie walked out and actually, stood in the lots as people were exiting, there was something spooky last night leaving that building. It was quiet. And anybody leaving that listened to the show, when they call us today and talk to us or text us, I bet they'll affirm it. It was one of the quietest lots that I've ever heard this year or in recent past. It was quiet leaving.
You want to know why?
I think people were just, we expected it.
There's two fans, I would imagine. One, the fan that realized this offense sucked all season long, and it was to really no surprise. Or two, the person that lied to themselves all year long that, they'll figure it out come playoff time or whatever. They're probably shocked today.
Well, I got to tell you this. I absolutely walked into that building yesterday saying, I looked more at the 49ers than I did at the Eagles. And that is my stupid mistake. I looked more at the opposition and said, yeah, the Eagles have all these flaws, but the 49ers have so much more against them. They can't lose today.
Yeah.
Foolish. Absolutely freaking foolish. And that's on me. And I think a lot of people, as you well pointed out, there were a lot of people walked out of that building last night like I did. And they walked out like, are you kidding me?
Last year, I looked
lost to that team.
I looked at the flaws of teams last year because I thought the Eagles they weren't perfect, but like the Eagles, they were the least flawed of all the flawed teams. I watched an offense not be able to score points all season long. It's why I looked at the Eagles before anybody else. Because they have the most expensive offense in the NFL, guys. The most expensive offense. I don't know exactly what the numbers are. One website says one thing, one website says the other. But I saw on overthecap.com yesterday that the Eagles are spending over $164 million on the offense this year. Do you want to know how much money they're spending on the defense this year? A little over 71.
Yeah, you're going to be spending more next year.
More than half of the cap was directed to the offense this season. An offense that averaged under 10 points per second half. An offense that was historically one of the worst 3-and-out teams in football. Not just this year, historically, right? We were giving you numbers of teams in the 1980s earlier this year. Did we really expect anything else? I understand expecting your defense to keep a team to the teens because they did that a lot this year. But as soon as you saw the 49ers surpass 20 points, I knew it was over because the Eagles' offense has not been able to do it. They have not been able to score, 24 points against a playoff team.
And one other point is, and it just sums it up, if you did the simple things right all year long, they don't haunt you till they haunt you. Jake Elliott screwed his team again.
Yeah.
In the most important game, all the things that people are like, well, Jake will come through. Jake's clutch. Jake will get it. Jake will come through because he's Jake. Jake screwed his team again in the biggest thing. They would have been sitting there for the game-tying field goal instead of having to go for a touchdown. They're going to overtime. Who knows what happens in overtime? Thanks a lot, Jake. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jake.
So what I'm saying, the 24-point thing, do you know that the last
incredible.
time they scored 24 points against a playoff team? All right, because
Wait,
the
24 against playoff team.
Raiders, they scored 31.
Was it Tampa?
That was September 28th.
Tampa, not a playoff
Not a playoff team. Sorry,
Oh, no, Rams.
Sorry,
Rams.
September
It was Rams.
21st.
Yeah, Rams.
Against the Rams. The last time they scored, 24.
That's
Right,
incredible.
They scored 33 in that game. The last time the Eagles offense scored 24 points against a playoff team, other good teams, was September 21st.
That's truly an incredible. That's incredible.
It's why I had no faith with this team.
No, that's incredible, though.
And I'm not dunking on anybody. I'm freaking pissed off.
No, that's
I'm miserable.
No, that's
I'm
incredible.
angry
No, you
because
are.
all my emotions are now coming out because it's all this crap that we saw all season long. Again, what I first said to start the show, everything we feared, everything that we had logical concerns about, and everything a lot of people ignored came to light in the most ugliest ways yesterday.
You and Connor didn't want to be right.
Oh,
No.
of course not.
You wanted to be wrong. You would have loved to have been wrong. Unfortunately, you were like really right. Like you didn't want to be right, and unfortunately, you were really right.
I think I'm happy that the playoffs are over
No.
already for the Eagles.
No, it sucks. It sucks.
I was sick. I could barely watch the Patriots game last night. I'll be honest with you. I could barely watch it.
2 years, I had no way. I turned it off.
I
in the
put it
third
on
quarter.
and I felt sick. And I
didn't even watch
I stopped. I watched it, but I stopped watching.
I turned it off in the third quarter, and I can tell you right
you
now.
lasted longer than I did.
If you're looking at what I got, I didn't get home till the third quarter.
That's
so I can tell you is that I will not be watching tonight either. I will not be in the mood to watch the Texans and the Steelers. So you're going to have to tell me what happens. I may glance on it. I'll watch the Flyers. I'll watch the Flyers tonight. I'm not in the mood.
Let's not even wait longer. All right, we already got Nick in Central Jersey that wants to talk about it. Nick, you're on Kincade and Salciunas. Have at it.
Morning, guys. How are you?
What's up, Nick?
All right, Nick.
Yeah, I was actually at the game last night, and I can confirm that when I was walking down that stairwell from the 225 section, I did not even hear a single chirp.
It was
As a
quiet, wasn't
49ers
it?
fan, I didn't hear. It was dead silent. It was. I'm just disgusted. It was almost like the bullies. They they took your ball, and all the offense did was put their tails into their legs and ran away like losers.
Well,
And,
that's what A.J.
like,
Brown did after the game, but we'll talk about that.
Exactly, and you could start anywhere. You could start from Batul in the offense. You can start from AJ, who makes the whole scene all year about getting the ball. Then when the ball is given to him, he drops it. There was, I believe, 4 drops on third downs. Why are we running the ball on third and forever?
Oh my God! And it's been all season, Nick, and that's what they believe in. And thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it.
Like a give up, the give up offense is just too much.
3rd and 11. Let's just hand the ball off to Saquon. Saquon, save us. Like that was their. You want to know what their identity was? Saquon, save us.
It was like give up. Like the give up offense all day long was so bad.
Oh, you know what their identity was last year? Saquon carries.
Whoa. There was a lot. There was a lot of good things last year, and we're going to find out too. By the way, we're going to find out a lot of injury situation coming up too.
Nick mentioned the drops. According to ESPN, the Eagles had 4 drops on 3rd down versus the Niners yesterday. This was more 3rd down drops than they had in the regular season, as well as the most in a playoff game since ESPN began tracking the stat in 2006.
That's terrible.
That's 20 years ago.
That's terrible.
All right, coming up next, there is a number one person to blame. Nick said you could spread it all around. You can. There is a number one person to blame. I'll give my answer next, see if you guys confirm. Also, you deserve to stay to vent and voice your frustration. 610-632-0975. You doing that would already do more than what A.J. Brown did after the game. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, Andrew Salciunas here. Come hang out with me and my friends from Corona. Unfortunately, we won't be having any more, La Playa playoff watch parties, but still got our Sixers fun. January 16th, so 4 days from now, I'll be at Nick's Bar and Grill, located on 2nd Street in Philly.
Spot.
I love it there.
Good spot.
I was there last year for the same event, and it was an absolute damn party. A lot of great local attendees of the bar, so they're always getting after it. So join us there, Nick's Bar and Grill, on 2nd Street in Philly from 6 to 8 for a Sixers pregame party that you don't want to miss. I'll be there getting you ready for tip-off, and we've got great drink specials all night long. $5 Corona Light bottles. Can't beat that in the city, plus $6 Modelo pints. The perfect way to kick off your Sixers night. And the best part is you can win a pair of Sixers tickets to an upcoming home game. So grab your friends, stop by Nick's Bar and Grill, and hang with us from 6 to 8 this Friday night. It's the 97.5 The Fanatic Sixers pregame party hosted by me, Andrew Salciunas, in partnership with Corona. Must be 21 plus. Please drink responsibly. For more details, visit 975thefanatic.com. We'll see you there.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles out in the first round. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles' dreams of defending their title ended yesterday as the 49ers came into the link and knocked them off 23-19. The Eagles scored only 6 points in the second half as the offense once again failed to put together a complete game. The defense didn't have their best day either, allowing 361 total yards to the Niners' banged-up offense, even with George Kittle going down in the game. Nick Sirianni met with the media and talked after the game about the offensive issues that cost the Philadelphia Eagles their season.
Felt like that was kind of our story as the year progressed. Good first half, didn't do a good enough job coaching, didn't do a good enough job executing in the second half. Some penalties got us behind the sticks. We had a hard time overcoming them.
Unfortunately, the offseason now begins for the Birds as they have some decisions to make on the future of offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo and the future of some key players on the roster. We'll keep you updated on the fallout from the first-round exit. Sixers fell to the Raptors 116-115 in overtime last night. They're off until Wednesday. The Flyers host the Lightning tonight at 7 p.m. You can hear that game live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. We'll talk to Andrew DeCecco coming up at 8:05. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Mattress Firm's once-a-year sale and clearance is here. Their sleep experts will help find your dream bed from a quality selection. They make sleep easy. I'm Connor Thomas for your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
6:31 on this football Monday, season over Monday, presented to us by our friends at the local Bryant Home Comfort Team. Visit nopayBryant.com to keep your HVAC in the starting lineup. You'll not hear from A.J. Brown here momentarily. We'll talk about that. But I mentioned going into the break, I do believe there is like a number one culprit for the season. And it's not just yesterday. It's for the season. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's Kevin Patullo. I'll go Sirianni first because it's his guy. Like Nick Sirianni.
He's the one who pushed for it, signed off on it, and didn't go and interview the brightest minds in college football that were available.
It was the worst kept secret in the world that Kevin Patullo was going to be hired as the new offensive coordinator. Remember? We were talking about it on parade day. Unfortunately, we had to talk about it because Jalen Hurts gave one of the worst endorsements ever for what ended up being a horrible offensive coordinator. So Jalen, ding, 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 you were right. Nick Sirianni pushed for him. I don't even remember if there was an interview process.
They did not go through a process.
Like, did they bring in? Did they ask a couple other people? Maybe I don't remember hearing. I don't remember. You know how the NFL, every bit of information is reported. Every bit. If they interviewed the janitor, it would have been known.
No. Adam Schefter through the whole process. You're just because you were still in post Super Bowl thing. They did not go through. They did not go through like a formalized. Right. Let's turn over every rock.
They just
and see who's available process.
They just promoted Kevin Patullo. Like that was it. It was Kevin Patullo is now the offensive coordinator.
He deserved it.
A guy that had been in the NFL for 18 years, but a guy that had never called plays at any level ever, right? Like no high school, no college.
Look.
He had never called plays. Nick Sirianni, they're buddies. They go back to their days in San Diego, then Indianapolis, and then, of course, here in Philadelphia. And for whatever reason, I guess they got spooked in February thinking there can't be another good candidate out there.
They didn't do the work.
So instead of even trying to interview other people, to do our due diligence, I'm going to promote my buddy. And I forget who it was exactly that we spoke to, but there was some Eagles reporter that we spoke to during that process that said, hey, look, Nick Sirianni has earned this right he's the Super Bowl champion. There is no way Howie Roseman can look him in the eyes and say, no, you have no decision-making even though you won the Super Bowl. And I kind of understood it, but still to have process whatsoever, like that's a problem.
And again, just like you're saying, like you with you and Connor earlier, you guys did not want to be right about this team. You ended up being exactly right, but you didn't want to be right. I did not want to be right about the Patullo thing, but I said it all along from the time he was hired. This was the biggest mistake because there is a reason he was an assistant for 17 years, and nobody ever said, let's poach that guy. Let's promote that guy. We now found out in real time why that was. Nick Sirianni hitched his wagon to a guy who it ended up it cost the whole season. It cost the whole season.
Can we be
terrible?
I'm going to do this as professional as possible because I know it is a joke on social media. But let's do this as professional as possible. It is actually embarrassing that they did the armbar Jose Canseco meathead celebration every time they scored a touchdown. It's actually embarrassing because
do you remember the one in Buffalo?
Yeah, when they went up 7-0.
When it was 7-0 in the first quarter, and they danced around like they had won something.
And then what happens after the game when they win 13-12 when Josh Allen misses Khalil Shakir? Nick Sirianni's mouthing off.
Yes.
And I understand he wins, and I said it a couple weeks ago. He's lucky that he wins because he already gets crushed in this town, Sirianni, and I think sometimes unfairly, right? I do believe sometimes it's unfairly. But he does bring it upon himself.
He does.
His actions, his attitude, celebrating with your buddy, again, as if you're playing Madden and you had a big touchdown in Madden. When you are on a sideline in the NFL, it is embarrassing when you score a touchdown and you act as if you won a football game when it's the first quarter, and you know that in the second half this season you average under 10 points per half.
It's
childish.
There's so much amateur hour to the way. There's so many things that Nick does well.
Absolutely, he's a Super Bowl champion.
But there are things that he is so amateur hour about, and that's one of them.
Yeah,
he conducts himself like he's Harry High School.
I don't need arm bars after going up 7-0 in a game.
It's just so stupid.
All right, we'll get to our text line because we also have our text. Open forum. Have at it. 610-632-0975. We already took a call in the first segment. We'll get to our calls and texts coming up. A.J. Brown not speaking after the game is ridiculous. A.J. Brown, who is probably the biggest reason why we've had drama this season.
Oh,
right?
He was the biggest.
Whether you agreed with him or not, because we actually agreed with a lot of his messages. It was how he went about the messaging, social media, the Twitch stream earlier this year. There were a lot of times this season where we had to talk about drama. And the drama was created by A.J. Brown.
Not by anyone else.
Drama so much so that Jeffrey Lurie had to go to A.J. Brown during a practice, have Big Dom pull him aside. People try to give Big Dom credit for it. I don't know why. It was Jeffrey Lurie who went down to the sideline and said, hey, bring A.J. Brown over here. Had to tell him to stop. The drama got so bad that the owner of the Eagles, somebody that we celebrate, right, one of the best owners in sports, definitely the best owner in Philadelphia, had to take his time to tell A.J. Brown, stop. Like, this is ridiculous. And then 1 week later, that's when all of a sudden the anonymous sources start coming out.
And then all of it starts, yes. The bottom line is this. If you're going to run to your Twitter fingers and your Instagram accounts and everything like that, when you want to voice your displeasure about other people's performance, like your quarterback, like your offensive coordinator, and then you dial up some of the efforts he's dialed up the past month, like yesterday, I'm telling you. And then you don't face the music? And I asked you earlier today, Orion Kirkering?
Yep.
No matter what you think of what Orion Kirkering did at the end of the year with just a brain-dead moment, Orion Kirkering gets ultimate respect. He stood there and answered the questions.
Through tears, right?
Mitch Williams in 1993 blows the World Series. He doesn't run. He doesn't hide. For God's sakes, A.J. Brown, if you're going to be the drama queen, you got to answer the questions.
Especially when
you point the finger at other people.
He had 3 drops. One of them I thought was a legitimate tough play. He had the safety coming up over the top. It wasn't alligator arm. It was just out of his reach. But the other 2, there were two balls that went through your hands. The one down the sideline and, of course, the one over the middle of the field.
It was incredible.
There was the moment between him and Nick Sirianni. Sirianni explained it after the game, saying he was trying to get him off the field because you had to get the punt team out there. You could have gotten flagged for too many men on the field. Sirianni heated the moment. They start yelling at each other. But you can't even answer that because you ran and hid. All A.J. Brown did after the game, after a season of complaining, after a season of drama, after a season of speculation, after a season where before the trade deadline, there were reporters that weren't totally shutting it down that he could have been traded. Had to be a haul. Remember, that
Absolutely.
was Adam Schefter's reporting.
Haul.
Had to be a haul. Everybody's on the table. A season of all that, you run and hide after you lose. That's bad.
It was terrible.
It's unprofessional. It is.
I mean,
and don't give me if I got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Like, no, that is a moment where you have to stand and face the music after you had the season that you had and you had the game that you had.
And don't give me any of the crap of, and it is crap. Well, he's probably protecting his own mental health because he doesn't give a damn about anybody else's mental health when he's attacking them subtly, cryptically, putting out his tweets, putting out his stuff. So if he doesn't give a damn about anyone else's mental health, please stop. That's not why he exited the building last night. He had a bad game. Bad game. One of the worst of any player that wore an Eagles uniform. And he ducked out and he hid. That's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
Let's go to Scott in West Philly. What's up, Scott?
Fellas. Welcome to the dark side, Andrew. Welcome to the dark side. I told you guys a few weeks ago it was going to be Nick's downfall. We were going to be a downfall because of Nick, and here we are.
Yeah.
Andrew was believing you're more welcome than me.
I said November 10th that they had a 0% chance of.
Andrew and Connor both were out by Thanksgiving.
When I called them a camp counselor, you guys laughed. But I told you guys before, we all got kids, right?
Right.
Yep.
So this is what happens when you let the kids run the house.
Yep.
How much drama has come under Nick's watch? Arguing with AJ, arguing with Smitty, arguing with Jalen Carter, beefing with Jalen Hurts, secret reports. He's not a good coach. You guys say culture is what he's good at, but what's the culture? He's arguing with players. The players are not speaking to the media because they want to run it high, like the arm bar. Like, this is what we've created.
I remember your call. The only reason why I pushed back on calling the Super Bowl champion head coach a camp counselor, I thought that was a bit much.
That's crazy. Because I can tell you this. Here's the bottom line is, the players don't agree with you. His players,
and you know why? Because they get to do what they just did last night.
No.
That's why. We got kids.
No, you
when
have
kids
some.
run the show.
No,
they love it there.
No, we have some kids. Some.
The
There are
best
many. There are many more professionals that are in that room. Many more professionals.
John, 3 years ago, you blamed the and I'll let you. I'm sure you guys will cut me after this, but John, you blamed the leaders, Kelsey, Fletch, for not stepping in and stopping the mudslide. That was in the Knicks' watch too. Like, everybody loves them because they get to do what they want and they're not held accountable. He's a camp counselor. He doesn't hold his kids accountable.
Well, I definitely
he does not run the show with structure.
I don't know if it was the kids, Scott, and thanks for the call, brother.
I'm not going to disagree with him on that.
I think it was his cousin.
It was no, it's one of his frat brothers.
It was Kevin Patullo that he wouldn't hold accountable.
It was his frat brother that he wanted to get a job. He wanted, like, I owe you something.
We all have really good friends, right? I would hope. You have the best friend that if they're messing up, you pull them aside and say, yo, dude, you're messing up. But then you have the friend that you like to party with all the time, and he might be doing some stupid stuff, but you go, you know what? That's who he is. Nick Sirianni let his buddy continue to mess up all year.
He did.
All right, coming up next. I wasted about 6 minutes of my life listening to Jalen Hurts speak yesterday, but there was one question about why. Why the offense could never get going. He gave an answer, and it was a problem that we talked about the day Patullo was hired. Hear from Hurts, Saquon, and you. Coming up next, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. It is 6:48 here on Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic. We are here with you. Miserable for the Eagles losing to the San Francisco 49ers yesterday. 23-19. Again, the last time the Eagles scored 24 points, at least 24 points against a playoff team was on September 21st against the Los Angeles Rams. So am I surprised they lost yesterday? Absolutely not.
Yeah, you shouldn't be.
Did I think they were going to win yesterday because the San Francisco 49ers, like all of their good players were hurt? They lose George Kittle in the middle of the game. I thought the Eagles were going to win that football game yesterday. Look, I thought they were destined to lose to the Rams, right? And I know the Rams almost
And the Rams
coughed it up against Carolina, but
correct.
That offense is why I was afraid, because at some point I thought the defense was going to allow 20-plus points, and I did not think that the Eagles' offense would be able to score said 20-plus points. I just did not know or expect it to happen in round one against the 49ers yesterday. The Niners scoring 23 points. The second they reached that 20-point mark was the moment that season ended for the Eagles, because they can't score. And to your point, and to anybody's point, Jake Elliott, once again, missing an extra point.
It would have been a game-tying field goal at the end. Then you're going to overtime, and that's
knows?
a coin flip.
Yeah,
it's a
then who
coin
knows?
flip that you would have won. More importantly, though, how about this one, though? Let me take you back to just November 23rd. November 23rd, on a Sunday afternoon around 5:30, the Eagles were up 21-0 at Dallas. And they were the number one seed in the NFC. They were up 21-0 at Dallas. They blow that game, and everything comes off the rails from that point.
Yeah.
Just everything comes off the rails. So
part of your three-game
It
losing
is.
streak, part of the identity crisis that they
There it
never
is.
figured out. So Jalen Hurts spoke. Obviously, he has to after every game. Quarterbacks always have to. They can't run and hide like A.J. Brown. So earlier in the show, we played you the clip from Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni was asked why this was a trend all season long, where the second half offense went dead. And his first three words in his answer were, "I don't know." And to me, that's part of the problem, right? The offensive mind. That's what Sirianni is. Sirianni was an offensive coordinator with the Indianapolis Colts. Didn't call any of the plays. Comes here as the head coach because he could be a puppet. Comes here, is supposed to be this offensive mind, goes 2-5 as the play caller, hands things over to Shane Steichen, has never been able to overtake it since then, and the 2 years where the offense had legitimate issues, 23 and 25, he has not been able to figure out answers. And so when he says, "I don't know," I think that's actually his answer, because I don't think he actually knows. He then did some word salad after that, but your immediate answer, the first things that come out of your mouth, I think is the true answer. So him saying, "I don't know," I think he truthfully has no idea how to fix this offense. So Jalen Hurts was asked about it, and this was his answer.
I think finding the rhythm and, whatever you define aggression as, maintaining the fluidity and the flow throughout 4 quarters of the game. I think there's opportunity for us to improve in that, just finding the rhythm. Ultimately, it's just all something that you either learn from it or you don't.
Finding a rhythm, finding flow. So this goes back, I forget the day Kevin Patullo was hired. I kind of burned that out of my brain, but it happened at some point before the season started.
It was after the Super Bowl, parade. So it was like the week after the Super Bowl parade.
I said this about Brian Johnson in 2023. We said it about Kevin Patullo the day he was hired. We just wondered, right? It wasn't this is going to happen. It was, let's think this through first, because a lot of people tried telling us, well, he's been here, right? He knows the offense. He was there with Kellen. Nick told us all the time, he was right there with him, even though we never heard from Kevin Patullo at all last year. Kevin Patullo might know football. I'm not saying he doesn't. But once more, there is a difference from knowing football. There is a difference to coming up with a game plan. And then there is a major difference on 2nd and 6 in the second quarter when your offense has not been able to do anything all game, or maybe your defense needs a bit of a breather. Your back might be against the wall, depending on where you're at in the field.
Right.
Calling plays is an art.
Because the
Timing.
You ever play Jeopardy at home?
Yes,
now,
and I suck at it.
Connor likes Jeopardy.
Yeah, I'm a tank.
But Jeopardy at home, when they ask the question and the time is going,
Yeah.
it's harder It's harder when
It's
you're
like when we
there's a
do
timer.
contests on the show. We have callers call in. Sometimes the answers are so easy, but you're on the spot and you get
You're on the
nervous.
spot,
And you're on
and
the
that's
radio.
what it is.
I understand it.
Kevin Patullo's trying to defuse a bomb. He's not prepared. He wasn't prepared.
So when Hertz talks about fluidity and flow and rhythm, they were never able to get into rhythm. How many times did we see them doing this again yesterday?
Again,
holding the ears
all over
at
the
home,
place.
by the way, holding the ears, trying to get the play call in. You look up, there's only 10 seconds left, and Hertz is trying to scan the defense. I'm not saying Hertz was perfect yesterday. Hertz wasn't all that good yesterday. But Kevin Patullo, once again, when I hear Jalen Hurts talk about flow and fluidity and not being able to get into a rhythm as to part of the reason why the second half was an issue, yeah, you can come up with your 15 scripted plays. You can come up with what are we going to do next. But at halftime, when defenses make adjustments, skilled offensive coordinators can then make adjustments after that. Skilled offensive coordinators can think about 2-3 plays in advance. Kevin Patullo is not skilled at that. Saquon Barkley was asked about the Eagles' offensive issues after the game, and he probably gave the realest answer of them all.
First, got to give credit to them over there. They did a great job of adjusting. Obviously, you're frustrated after a game like that and in the playoffs, knowing your season's over. But it's been a common theme for us this year. We haven't done a good enough job of playing complete football, putting two halves together. And, sometimes you expect you get into this moment and we'll just figure it out and kind of caught up to us. That's really what happened. It's been the same thing all year. So we just didn't do enough.
You expect to just figure it out. I'm glad. Thank you, Saquon. Saquon gave a real answer.
Yeah, and Saquon can stand there and answer questions when he had a really good day.
Yeah, he had a good day. But that was a real answer. We just expect to figure it out.
Correct.
Yeah, we watched the offense that didn't work still be the same offense yesterday. No, I don't need gadget plays. I don't need Jawan Jennings touchdown passes. But I need some bit of creativity.
Kevin Patullo couldn't draw up that play that Kyle Shanahan did for nothing off of a TV timeout to start the fourth quarter.
He probably turned to Nick and said, "Is that allowed?" All right, come on.
I mean, seriously. Come on.
We want to hear from you. Vent, let it out. 610-632-0975. We'll check our text line and calls heavy to start the segment. And then, knowing everything that was on the table, knowing the talent that the Eagles had, the injuries that the Niners had, it isn't overreacting to what John Kincade will say next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Birds bounced by the Niners. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles' dreams of defending their title ended yesterday as the 49ers came into Lincoln Financial Field and knocked them off a 23-19 final. The Eagles scored only 6 points in the second half as the offense once again failed to put together a complete game. No touchdowns in the second half for the Eagles' offense. The defense didn't have their best day either, giving up 361 total yards to the Niners' offense, even with George Kittle going down with an injury in the middle of the game. Jalen Hurts met with the media after the loss and talked about the offensive issues that cost the Eagles.
I think I'm always growing. I'm always taking in my experiences and learning from everything that we go through. It's tough to single out one individual, especially in a moment like this. We all got to improve. That's how I look at everything that we go through.
So he's not singling out anybody, including the offensive coordinator, but a lot in the fan base are. And unfortunately, with the offseason now beginning for the Birds, they have some decisions to make, some tough ones on the future of personnel like offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo and the future of some key players on the roster. We'll keep you updated on the fallout from the first round exit. Sixers fell to the Raptors 116-115 in overtime last night. They're off till Wednesday. Flyers host the Lightning tonight at 7 p.m. You can hear that game live here on The Fanatic. Andrew DeCecco joins us coming up at 8:05 for his reaction to the loss. I'm Connor Thomas for your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
by the local Bryant Home Comfort teams at nopayBryant.com to keep your HVAC in the starting lineup. The Eagles' offensive woes that we saw all season. Once again, the reason why you lost a football game. Once again, the reason why a game was close when it probably really shouldn't have been. I know the defense wasn't perfect yesterday, but, if the offense could sustain a drive here and there, that would be pretty nice. Here are some second-half drives for the Eagles yesterday against arguably the worst defense in the playoffs. Maybe statistically, were they considered the worst? I forget the exact numbers of the 49ers. But knowing all the injuries, you could say on paper, probably the worst defense in the playoffs. A 3-and-out where they got 7 yards. A 4-play drive where they lost 4 yards. A 10-play drive where they gained 23 yards. 10 plays, only getting 23 yards, and you get a field goal. 3 plays, not minus 3 yards, punt. That's against the worst defense in the playoffs. And again, something I put out on social media yesterday, something that I've been saying a lot this year. I'm not saying not trying to turn the ball over is a bad idea, right? Like, duh. You don't want to.
That's good analysis.
You don't
want
to turn the football over.
That's good.
But when it's your obsession, when it is your quote unquote identity, let's win the turnover battle. I saw Bill Colarulo the other day. See, Nick's right. This is a couple weeks ago. Nick, during one of his meetings with the team, you saw it on Hard Knocks. He had in his Photoshop or whatever, his PowerPoints that he has behind him, showed the Eagles' record since he became the head coach in games in which they win the turnover battle. Like, they flaunt it. And I get it. Turning the ball over is a bad thing. But when it almost bleeds into what you do offensively and it's let's not take any risks, the only shots downfield we'll take are the same sideline routes that we do all the time. We never throw the ball over the middle of the field except on the final play of the game on 4th and 11 to 4 people, which is what Jalen Hurts did. That was a horrible throw.
That was horrible.
It hurts you. The 49ers said, we need to score touchdowns to win this game, so let's run a gadget play with a reverse to Juwan Jennings and a throw downfield to Christian McCaffrey. The Eagles don't believe in that stuff.
Nope.
Nick Sirianni has said at one point in a press conference, I don't motion just to motion, right? Like, he doesn't believe in that stuff.
No, he arrogantly says that.
He wants to do 3 yards in a cloud of dust. How many times have we heard, you do know that we look at it as 1st and 9 every time because we have that tush push. They believe in it. That 10-play, 23-yard drive that led to a field goal is what this offense does. Let's move the chains maybe twice, and we'll be okay with that. When your belief is solely focused on not turning the football over, it takes away from some of the stuff that you can do downfield.
It's passive. It's passive. And that is the one thing it's one of the many things that drove me crazy this year. You're the world frickin' champions, and you were passive. You didn't come in. You didn't want to act like the bullies on the block. You wanted to act like, hey, that was last year. We're not talking about being the champions.
Hated it from day one.
Instead of walking in like you're just letting it swing and just being the big bullies on the block, you played this. No, that's last year. We're not talking about last year. We're not last year. It's just so passive.
Yeah.
It's just such a soy boy mentality that they have, and it's really bad.
And then he was arrogant
really
during his press conference yesterday when asked about that, and he goes, I think it's easy to say whenever we don't play well to just say we had a passive approach.
No, you can't. The thing is, though, he says that like you can't say that like 5 times. You know what I mean? You can't use that excuse over and over again.
When everybody, by the way, and their mothers pointed out, every film person,
correct.
everybody that covers the league, everybody.
Yep.
All right, you have something to say about this loss in terms of history. We'll get to that coming up in a little bit. Let's get to a couple calls. A lot of people want to voice their frustration today. Let's go to Brian in Dallas. What's up, Brian? How you doing, man?
Don't even ask what you already know. You know how I'm doing.
That's a fair point.
You know how I'm doing, man. Hey, listen, I'm going to try not to cuss, so forgive me, all right? But, John, you said something that was important. Let's start there. This offense of whatever you want to call it has nothing to do with one thing, except one thing. It's arrogance. Nick Sirianni has no clue how to run an offense, and he's determined to be an offensive guru. It's pathetic when you design an offense and you don't know how to run it yourself. That is horrible. Everything about our offense is horrible. First down, run into A gap. Second down, run off tackle to the B gap. Third down, throw deep. rinse and repeat. That's all he does.
Yeah.
No imagination, no screen, no scheme, no nothing. And guys, forgive me. If Bill Colarulo comes on here this afternoon and blames anything but Petrullo and Sirianni, I will freaking scream. This has nothing to do with execution. You can't, no player in the NFL can execute an offense they have no belief in. I don't want to hear about injuries. Every team in the playoffs right now, offensive line is injured. This is arrogance and stupidity at its very best. Period. End of story.
I love
Brian,
that. I
you're the
think,
man.
Brian, you said that really
Thanks for the
well.
call.
You said that really well. And look, Tom Brady, if any Petulo apologists still exist, Tom Brady, I think, played it out. And I played back a little of the video of the game last night. I don't know why. I guess I was just a glutton for punishment. And Tom Brady kept questioning, why are they not getting to the line faster? Why are they not moving faster?
Yeah.
The Eagles got to get to the line
Because
faster.
they can't get the
Eagles got
calls
to do this.
in.
They can't do it. They don't know what they're doing.
Because he's looking at the play sheet.
He doesn't
and
know
it's-
what he's doing. He doesn't have any anticipation. Kyle Shanahan ran a masterclass on them yesterday.
I'm gonna remind you of something that I complained about a couple of years ago, and I
What was
brought it
that?
up, I brought it up again this year
What was that?
because Brian just mentioned it. Like it's the arrogance, and it's the same thing, right?
Right.
Remember what Nick Sirianni said after 2022 to Jeff McClain? It's not about changing the offense. It's just about doing the same thing that you're good at and improving on.
And getting
right?
it better. Yeah, getting better at it, yeah.
And to me, that's arrogance. That's telling the league, my offense is so good that you can't stop it.
Yep.
And then defensive coordinators have an entire offseason to try to figure out how to stop it. And
they
what
can.
happened in 2023, they stopped it. This year, they wanted to do basically everything they did last year. It kind of starts with hiring or promoting Kevin Petulo because he was here, right? Think about that for a second. Because he
Sure.
was here. He worked under Kellen Moore.
No, he was
He
his
knows
buddy.
what worked.
The
well,
number
no,
one
I get,
thing
no,
is
I get
his
it.
buddy.
But
That's the number one.
he was here. He knows what they did. So what Sirianni was telling you, once again, just without saying it as arrogantly like he did to Jeff McClain after the 2022 season, was we just want to keep on doing what we did last year. I said before the season started, you can't copy-paste your offensive game plan, especially when you know what teams are going to do. Teams saw what Kansas City did in the Super Bowl. And teams said, all right, we're going to try to take away Saquon, and let's see if Jalen can recreate that game that he had against the Chiefs. And did he? No.
Well, Kellen Moore
Jalen Hurts
wasn't
was
there.
also part of the problem this year, all season long.
But Kellen Moore wasn't there designing the offense. I believe if Kellen Moore was here, they could have done a far more successful job at being able to say.
No,
They wouldn't have been
absolutely.
able to key on Saquon like that.
No, he would have made changes. No,
Yeah, exactly.
But Kevin Petulo can't.
No, he can't.
They once again ran the same 5 plays all year.
Terrible.
It was Brian Johnson's offense all over
Terrible.
again.
Terrible.
Let's go to Chris in Havertown. Chris, you're on the Fanatic.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
Hi, Chris.
Good morning. Yeah, I guess there's not much difference to be said. Petulo's got to get out of here. I mean, he never earned the job. It was useless. I think fans blaming Sirianni are right. I think fans to be fired are ridiculous because just because he can't call plays doesn't mean he's a bad coach. There are plenty of head coaches that call plays and get nowhere near the amount of wins and success that Sirianni has. But we should criticize him for the bad call.
Yeah, look, I'm not trying to fire Sirianni, Chris. To me, he's still the number one culprit
Sure.
because he believed in his buddy and his armbar buddy. Like
He's the one who hired- he's the one who hired
This
him.
is my best friend in football. He's been with me for a long time, so I'm going to give him a shot. Like he gave his buddy an opportunity. So he's the number one culprit, but no, I'm not trying
No,
to fire
he
him
shouldn't be
because
fired.
you can't right now.
100%. He shouldn't be fired, but he is a culprit. You should blame. You should criticize him for that.
Yes.
For AJ, I'm going to complain if he's gone. He's a great receiver, but someone acted so diva and then put in a complete dud out on the field in the most important of the game season, that's hard to come by. Jalen, I mean, I'm not saying we should replace him, and I'm not going to be a fan of saying put in McKee. But we ought to have a serious conversation of what Jalen needs to do, because this is now 3 straight years where he's either a game manager or just not performing well. So he needs to figure out a way to evolve and actually perform up to the level of 22, or else we
Chris-
might be starting to have a
Chris,
conversation.
it's why, and thanks for the call, man.
Well, he wouldn't run.
We
That's
say
bottom line. They wouldn't run. He doesn't want to run. He wouldn't run. Whatever it is.
Yeah, even in a game like yesterday, like you
There were
gotta,
opportunities all
you
day
gotta
yesterday.
run the football, Jalen. Like Here's the problem, and people get so offended by it because they love Jalen and because he won the Super Bowl, and I get it. Like, and he's the polar opposite of Carson Wentz, right? Like,
okay, and we like that,
and we like that. But there are limitations to his game, and people don't want to say it. And whenever I say it, I get crap for it. Right?
Who is? But the thing is, though, just think to yourself, who the hell's arguing that?
Because all he does is win, and that's their only answer.
But if anyone's arguing against that, it's a good answer. Because it is a problem. And here's what I would say to you, and I put out a tweet this morning, sitting in the parking lot just thinking about it on the drive down today. Saturday afternoon, less than 4 minutes to go. Matthew Stafford needed a touchdown to win a game. Matthew Stafford led his team down for a touchdown to win the game. Then in the night game, a relative rookie, Caleb Williams, takes his team down, less than 4 minutes. Touchdown to win the game. Then the first game yesterday, Josh Allen, same thing. Leads his team down, touchdown to win the game. Jalen Hurts was in the same situation. Didn't do it.
Hey, by the way.
Now, they all have better offensive coordinators.
Sure, yeah.
But I don't know that they have better offensive talent.
No, they don't.
Around them.
I'll go one step further for you. You mentioned those three quarterbacks. You mentioned Stafford. You mentioned Caleb Williams.
And Josh Allen.
Bryce Young did his part.
Bryce Young balled out.
Jordan Love did not have a great second half.
No, he did not.
Trevor Lawrence did his part until the tipped interception, but Trevor Lawrence got to the point where Josh Allen had to play hero. Right? Like, you got to think about the quarterbacks that also lost. They got them to that position.
Correct.
Hurts was bad yesterday.
He was bad.
Call it like it is.
He was bad yesterday.
By the way, Chris, our caller, just brought up, Kevin Patullo. You got to move on from him. Nick Sirianni, all-time deflection yesterday. He was like Martin Brodeur in net using the pad.
He deflected it off?
Here was Nick Sirianni being asked about Kevin Patullo's performance and his future.
Again, will be time to evaluate everybody's performance. Right now, I feel for all our guys in the locker room, all the players, all the coaches, the front office, everybody that works so hard, the fans that come out and support us, Mr. Laurie, I just feel for all of us, all of them, and, there'll be time to evaluate everything coming up.
Stop talking about how hard you work. How well do you work? Again, you make $9 million. I don't want to hear. Do you realize who you're talking to, Nick? You're talking to a plumber who might make $70,000 a year, who's literally digging around in the dirt, plumbing out, cleaning out pipes. You're talking to guys who do roofs for a living. You're talking to people who lay tar out on the roadways in 95-degree heat. Don't tell me how hard you work in your air-conditioned office. Stop with that excuse. He mentioned it like 5 times yesterday.
You work hard, John.
God, you're such a drama queen with the how hard you work. Stop with it.
I mean, that was a right answer, though.
I know. He's not going to say I'm firing. I get it.
There's nothing else
I get
you
it.
can
I'm
say.
saying all-time deflection.
No, it's constant deflection, but the constant crutch of we work hard. Guess what you've done? You haven't worked smart then, because you've used the work hard excuse. I would tell you that it's at least been used 12 times this year.
Everyone's working hard.
Oh, we're working hard. We're working hard. We're working hard to fix it. No one works harder than us. No one's more critical than us. We're working hard. You're not working smart then. Whatever you're doing isn't working. So whatever you're doing, you got to change what you're doing because it doesn't work. Change it. It doesn't work.
By the way, YouTube having a big back and forth about the Hurts stuff. Shout out YouTube. A lot of people checking it out, maybe for the first time. You can watch the show on YouTube every single day.
Good morning.
Not just Mondays after the Eagles season came to a loss. So you can join us tomorrow.
It's usually
and
more
Wednesday.
joyous than this.
You can join us next week and the week after. So thank you if you're checking it out for the first time. And of course, for our daily YouTube viewers, we love you. There's a lot of Hurts stuff. Let me be clear. Hurts is not the number one reason why they lost the game.
No,
not
absolutely
even close. Like, look, if A.J. Brown...
Whoa. Wait a minute, though. Wait a minute, not even close?
Not even close.
Hold on. If A.J. Brown catches balls,
A.J. Brown was
three
tough.
of them, the game might be completely different, right? Definitely the two. There was one that people were calling it a drop. I don't know.
Whoa. Which one?
Which one where people were saying it was alligator armed. I don't think he alligator. I think it was just out of his reach.
I think he alligator armed.
All right.
I don't think he. Look, guess what? There are at least 3 or 4 balls that I could point to this year where he didn't extend to get the ball. And by the way, Tom Brady said it.
There were 2 legitimate
Why aren't
drops.
you extending to get the ball?
There were 2 limited drops that fell out of his hands. The Devontae drop at the end there, I know he had to jump up and get it, but he put it in a spot where nobody else would be able to get to it. Devontae drops it. If some of those drops don't happen, A, they may win the football game. B, we're talking about Jalen Hurts completely differently. But the point that you're making, the point that I agree with you, like the ball was in his hands at the end there.
Yes.
And he came small. And, oh, by the way, some of it might be, all right? And this is a whole other conversation. Not today, all right? Today's the day reacting to tomorrow or from yesterday. It also might be that how many times have we heard, like DeCecco has mentioned it, maybe the offense is tailored to Jalen.
Yes, it is. No, he said it is.
Jalen himself has said the offense is going to look the way that the way I want it to. So if the offense looks like crap, maybe it's because they feel like they have to call a certain play. When I say Jalen Hurts' game is limited, I'm not just talking about like arm strength. It's also how the game actually plays out. When you have the ground game that you had last year, and then defenses do whatever they can to try to take away the ground game, it then opens up opportunities for Jalen Hurts to find one-on-one receivers and timing and all that kind of stuff. That's a conversation for another day. I'm not trying to trade Jalen Hurts. I'm just saying there are reasons why the offense has to look the way that it does.
Absolutely. And 2 different coordinators have taken that guy to a Super Bowl, and one has won one. It's like someone looking at a Rubik's Cube and saying, this can't be solved.
Right. It can
just
be solved.
because you can't solve it doesn't mean it's an impossible puzzle.
And unfortunately, the guys that figure it out, that solve it, then get hired by other teams.
And the guys who figured out how to solve it, though, they also had him willing to do things that he wasn't willing to do this year. And that's on Jalen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Jalen told us. So, I mean, Jalen's got to take some of the responsibility on that.
All right, I'm going to read a quote from your email. And I don't think you're crazy for saying it. I don't even think this was a in your feelings overreaction.
It's not, no.
And you have many more years of experience watching the Eagles than I do, with all due respect. Quote, this was one of the worst losses in Eagles history, end quote.
It was. This team,
as you say, expand on that.
This team didn't deserve the reward of rest. This team did nothing to improve their game planning with their extra week to prepare. This team was totally outcoached yesterday, completely outcoached. This team, everybody who made excuses for the offensive coordinator all season long, you got egg on your face. You got egg on your face and you look dumb today. The mental gymnastics have got to stop around the Philadelphia Eagles. That is arguably one of the worst losses in franchise history because of everything you had at your disposal, because you were the defending Super Bowl champions.
21 of 22 starters.
So much was made of that. The Eagles are the healthiest team. Yeah, that meant a lot. It meant an awful lot.
It should have.
It should have. But But when you don't, when you have people that don't know how to use it, you could give me one of those greatest toolkits. You could take me to Lowe's or Home Depot and get me one of like the greatest toolkit, and you could show me some. Now, give me a wrench, give me a screwdriver. I can use.
Yeah.
Show me some of that other stuff, and I'd be like, yeah, I know how to use that. You could show it to me, and I'd be like, that looks nice. I could probably put the battery in, but I don't know how to use it. There's incompetence going on right now with this coaching staff. And the opportunity that they wasted as the defending Super Bowl champions is something that I may never, ever just grasp to just forgive in my brain.
Yeah.
This opportunity, they don't come along often. And the way that they were unwilling to embrace the crown just drove me the craziest. And all day long yesterday as I watched that team, I said, you know what? They never wanted to wear the crown.
The week of
they never
week
wanted to wear it.
one, when Nick Sirianni did the whole
It's banner night?
BS, it's banner night.
Is it banner night? I didn't even know it was banner night.
I said it to you midway through the season.
Oh,
it was
my
actually
gosh.
a post-show headlines. It wasn't even on the air. Where you asked me kind of why it feels this way. I was like, because they've never owned it, and it almost feels like it was too businesslike. Like no victory Mondays. They went too far with it.
I just can't even understand how you approach what kind of leader doesn't want to be the bully on the block. And all I would say to you is the greatest coaches of all time, whether it's Nick Saban in college football is considered one of the greatest of all time. Phil Jackson in basketball, considered one of the greatest of all time. They all embraced being champions. Yeah. They all embraced people coming for their crown. They all embraced wearing the crown and what it took to defend it. And Nick Sirianni, in his ultimate wisdom, decided the best thing to do was to act like you didn't own the crown, like you act like you didn't even deserve to be wearing it. And to me, that is something that I just, in my head, I don't think I'm ever going to forget.
The reported feeling in the locker room in 2023 after losing the Super Bowl was as if somebody's dog died. The mindset, I feel like, of this season was, if we don't win the Super Bowl, somebody's dog is going to die. That's kind of how I've witnessed this team. We got to do it again. We got to do it again. Yeah, you're trying to, but own it. Own that you were there.
Nah, afraid to. Afraid of the pressure of putting on the crown.
Coming up next, we've not checked the text line yet. I imagine it's buzzing. We've been heavy on the phones, which has been a nice change of pace.
It's been good, yeah.
More of you on the phones at 610-632-0975. We're here for you. Firing off a text feels good and all, but letting it out, using your voice, it's another step further. That, and also, Adam Schefter, as we know, joins us every single Wednesday. Just over a month ago, he talked about what could happen if things went south. You'll hear that next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Dan White & Associates have been around in business for almost 4 decades, and they specialize in retirement and financial planning. And one of the reasons that they've been so successful is that they address each client's unique needs individually. And what they'll do for you, if you're someone like me and you're getting closer to those ages, they stress test your retirement plan for you. And they take a different approach than most advisors by educating their clients on retirement planning. They want to make sure that you can create income in retirement to support the lifestyle that you want to live. So you want to find that certainty. Let's say you're just starting out. Let's say you've just gotten married. Let's say you're looking forward to be able to buy that next house. Or you're trying to be able to say, how are we going to pay for that college education for our kids? They offer you a complimentary no-risk consultation. Conversations about money can be intimidating. But when you talk to the team at Dan White & Associates, you're not going to be intimidated. They're great, great folks. They offer you that complimentary no-risk consultation. Visit them at danwhiteandassociates.com. Find out more about all the great things they're doing in Pennsylvania, Delaware, and even Northern Maryland. You'll love it. Dan White & Associates, great folks with a real easygoing attitude. And I can tell you, no matter where you are on the life timeline, they've got a plan for you.
Now, on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles eliminated. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles' dreams of defending their title ended yesterday as the 49ers came into the link and knocked them off 23-19. The Eagles scored only 6 points in the second half as the offense once again failed to put together a complete game, and the defense did not have their best day either. They allowed 361 total yards to the Niners' offense. Nick Sirianni met with the media after the game, talked about the offensive issues that ended up costing the Eagles their season.
Felt like that was kind of our story as the year progressed. Good first half, didn't do a good enough job coaching, didn't do a good enough job executing in the second half. Some penalties got us behind the sticks. We had a hard time overcoming them.
Unfortunately, the offseason begins earlier than we wished it would have, but the Eagles are in it now. And for the Birds, they have some decisions to make on the future of offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo, some key players on the roster, a lot of work to be done by Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, and the rest of the organization. We'll keep you updated on the fallout from the first-round exit as the week continues. The Sixers fell to the Raptors 116-115 in overtime last night. They're going to play Toronto in Toronto again tonight. 7:30 p.m. tip-off. You can hear that game live here on The Fanatic. Flyers host the Lightning tonight at 7 p.m. You can hear that game over on WMMR. Andrew DeCecco will join us coming up at 8:05 for his reaction to the Eagles' end of the season. I'm Connor Thomas for your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
it.
All right, coming up later this segment, I pulled a clip from Adam Schefter, who joins us every single Wednesday, from December 10th. All right, so just about a little over a month ago.
Okay.
If the season went south. So hear that coming up in a little bit.
It did, by the way. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. But I do want to play, or I want to take a couple calls. I know the text line's been buzzed. We've not gone to the text line yet because we've had a lot of callers today, and we appreciate however you want to communicate YouTube. We went through some of the YouTube comments about Jalen Hurts. What do we got on the text line this morning, Connor?
All right, so John will lead us off here, texting from Florida, and says, why did we stop giving Tank Bigsby the ball when he had a hot hand? Why does Dallas Goedert disappear until they're inside the 10? Sirianni hitched his wagon to Kevin Patullo. My feelings would not be hurt if he was let go as well.
Yeah, look, Saquon had a good game yesterday. I get what he's saying about Tank, because Tank Bigsby had
understand it
three or four straight runs where he looked great, and then it was just like, let's bring him back in. He had 4 carries.
I didn't understand the departure from Tank Bigsby at all. Like, I mean, you got to give some time, especially for the rest-obsessed head coach. There's no reason why you wouldn't give Tank 3 more carries, 5 more carries in the course of a game. It's unbelievable.
Especially after he had a stretch of runs. I'm trying to figure out which drive it was, but he had that stretch of runs where
and it was great.
He was running the ball really well, and then that was it. Here you go. It was in the second quarter. It was the 19-play, 99-yard drive, total 99 yards.
Right.
Where they scored a touchdown. And it was Tank Bigsby for 4 yards, Tank Bigsby for 9 yards, Tank Bigsby for 7 yards.
It was beautiful.
So 3 straight plays they handed the ball off to Tank Bigsby.
Absolutely.
He had 1 other carry the rest of the game. Now, look, Saquon had a good game yesterday. But
no, Saquon had a fantastic game.
It just mixes it up.
Yes.
Especially when your offense is stalling. What else we got?
All right, we also have a check-in here. No name on this text, but they say Nick hiring Patullo, Missy Elliott, the $30 million crybaby that drops easy passes, poor offensive line play, and penalties. That's what ended our season. They wasted a great year from Vic Fangio and that stellar defense.
Penalties are bad yesterday.
The penalties are terrible. And people were bitching and complaining about the penalties. The Eagles were committing the penalties. I wasn't. Now, look. I got DeCecco on my right. I got Brandon Lee Gouton. I mean, I got 2 bright minds left and right of me. The 49ers weren't committing a bunch of penalties.
No, there was one.
I thought the goal line, I think that Dotson got attacked at the goal.
I thought they were both very handsy. And the ball.
You thought it was both?
If the ball doesn't fall 2 yards short,
you think he would have gotten the call?
If the ball, yeah. If he has to play it in stride,
you think he would have gotten the call?
Yeah. And look, Sirianni's going to blame the wind.
No, but that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I think it was where the ball landed. They were both very handsy on the play.
All right.
I had a different angle, right? Because I'm watching the
No, but that's
TV.
fair. Okay, that's fair because it was on my side of the stadium and it was sort of narrow. But I mean, overall, I was like, come on.
There weren't bad calls against the Eagles. I just think the 49ers getting out of that game with only 1 penalty against them.
But I didn't see it. I didn't see them, though.
There was 1 missed call, and unfortunately, it was on the touchdown pass to McCaffrey. Nolan Smith beat Trent Williams, and Trent Williams literally grabbed his hips to keep him from getting to Purdy. No call. Purdy steps up in the pocket, throws the touchdown.
What did you think on because neither one of us discussed it. It doesn't really matter now, but I thought that the late hit on Jalen was a cheap call. I didn't even think that was a real.
It looked like it was helmet to helmet.
Yeah, they got him.
Really?
I saw helmet to helmet.
See, yeah. I did.
And you know that's an automatic.
Right, so they're going to just call it.
Today.
By NFL standards, Jalen Hurts should never get those because he never does.
Exactly.
And Alan Eck, you're not an Eagles fan anymore. I don't want to hear another word about, Alan Eck grew up in Eagles. Screw you.
He wanted to keep his job. Let's go to Wayne in Florida. What up, Wayne?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, man?
Instead of Victory Monday, it's Depends Monday. Because we crap the bed.
Yep.
Yeah.
This time.
Yep.
My only concerns now is, of course, we got, besides, we all hear about, KP, whether he's going to get canned or not. He should. But, we'll see how that goes. But I'm more concerned about, the roster turnover, because, we had, when we picked up Phillips, he was a great pickup. We got that.
What was he doing yesterday? Looked quiet yesterday.
Well, Well, yeah, he was.
I didn't see. I honestly didn't notice him yesterday.
No, he was the invisible man at that game. I ain't gonna go ahead and be in front on that. But not for nothing, the offensive line was pretty much a no-show. I mean, it was, and that, besides that, and Q giving up those huge chunks of plays at the beginning of the game, I'm like, yo, what the heck is going on?
He gave you 2 interceptions also. Yeah. I mean, come on, you get 2 interceptions.
Look, it was very uncharacteristic. By the way, Robinson having the game that he had,
that's
nobody foresaw that coming. 6 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown. The touchdown pass against, like you mentioned, that was the Quinyon Mitchell. But Mitchell ends up having 2 interceptions, and the Eagles' offense can never
not going to get on Quinyon Mitchell with that. He more than made up for that.
No. It's just that it seems that we got too complacent, and when we did get complacent, you get careless.
And why did you get complacent? You that's the tone that the head coach sets. That's the tone that he sets.
Thanks for the call, Wayne.
He said it last week.
So Quinyon Mitchell's 2 interceptions. You guys know what happened the drives after both.
Oh, yeah, not much.
3 and outs, right?
Almost. 5 plays, Johnny.
Oh, okay.
En route to a punt. So the first interception, the Eagles gained 6 total yards to punt. They're up 13-10. That interception, you go, all right, get a score here, and it's a 2-score game. No, 5-play drive where they totaled 6 yards and they punt. The second interception was the drive that we talked about earlier where they got 23 yards on 10 plays. They got a field goal. So 2 interceptions, 2 big interceptions led to 3 total points. The field goal at least gave them the lead at 19-17. But again, field goals weren't going to win this football game yesterday. They weren't, especially when you miss extra points. Thanks a lot, Jake. Let's go to Craig in West Effort. Craig, you're on the Fanatic.
Hey, guys. Good morning. How you doing?
Good, Craig.
I just I kind of had a point about a lot of the games, and even in this game, I bet a lot on DraftKings, and a lot of teams that get a lot of possessions, like the Lions and maybe the Rams. You look at that 4th down play where it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and how much they go for it. I noticed yesterday that the Eagles game, the over-under, was not as high as some of the other games. And the correlation that I made with it was that if one of these teams decides to kick field goals instead of to go with the 4th down play, it would probably tip the scale in terms of the win or the loss. And the 49ers, I believe the Eagles and the Niners both went for it on 4th down one time, and they both did not get it. But the second time the Niners had the opportunity, they actually took the 3 points. And I thought that was the difference in the game.
Hand raised. I was stunned that Shanahan did that. I thought that was such a wimpy decision.
Well, I think it was the right decision.
We can talk about it.
But you know what? It goes back to, like we were just saying, the old Parcells days. These, like the bully coaches, they would win games 17-14,
right,
21-17 because the field goal game was good. Nobody's kicking kicks anymore. What's going on?
Jacksonville got a fumble from Cook in the Buffalo game.
Right.
Jacksonville had a 4th and 2 on the 12-yard line. They went for it 4th and 2 on the 12-yard line, and they were already up in the game. And instead of just taking the 3 points in the gift, they didn't.
Yeah, but they were up.
And at the end of the game, they would have been in a position then to go and win a game.
And thanks for the call, Craig. The reason why I thought it was crazy was because the defense was so dismantled. I thought the Niners, if they were ever in an area to try to score, they were on the 18-yard line. I thought they would go. I was shocked, especially Kyle Shanahan, of all people.
No, I thought it was a great move.
I was shocked that he kicked the field goal. I thought it was going to bite them in the rear end, and ultimately it didn't because the Eagles' offense is the Eagles' offense. Now, on December 10th, this is just a clip I'm going to play, and we're going to let it go. We'll talk, we'll touch on it because there's still so much things to react to from yesterday. But this was Adam Schefter on December 10th when we were talking about a potential downfall.
I can't answer the specifics because we don't know how it's going to play out. But I feel comfortable in saying that if they were to fail to make the playoffs, if there were losses in there to the Commanders and Raiders that cost them the division title in a playoff spot, I don't know what the fallout would be other than I would be comfortable in saying there would be fallout. What that's going to be, there are weeks to discuss and dissect and figure out, but there would be fallout if they fell short of making the playoffs
because of losses to the teams we're talking about.
So major difference is they made the playoffs, but they lost in the first round, right? They lost at home. They lost to an inferior, banged-up opponent. They lost a game that they should not have lost in. And their offense was bad all season long. So if there was – I understand that they went one step further than that clip there from December 10th, because we were talking – that was when the Cowboys started winning football games. Are we sure there's not major fallout with this team? That's a colossal failure. They failed, right? This season was a failure. Winning the division was not the goal.
No, it was not. Look, when you're the defending Super Bowl champs, which they refuse to acknowledge, making a wild card is not. Winning a wild card game is not. They did.
And they didn't even win the wild card game. They
failed miserably. Miserably.
Are we sure there's not going to be major fallout still? That's a whole conversation another day. I was thinking about that this morning, driving in. All right, coming up next, Monday morning radio hosts. It's what we do best.
Oh, boy.
We don't break down film. We break down what other people say. Some clips from Nick Sirianni's press conference yesterday that we will react to. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
When something feels off, I don't want you to brush it aside. I want you to go to the doctor. I want you to make sure you get the proper test results. And should a cancer diagnosis ever come into your life, or your best friends, or your wife's, or your parents, the consultants in medical oncology and hematology are just fantastic people. Dr. John Sprandio Jr. was the quarterback, the coach of My Cancer Care. And boy, did he have an amazing team around him. He didn't have an incompetent offensive coordinator. He had a great, great team that helped me get my life back. And their great mainline cancer center in Newtown Square is where I've been going now for my aftercare. It's absolutely amazing. Every one of their offices, you're going to find free parking, easy access, no elevators or garages to deal with. So when you're going through your cancer treatments, you can be dropped off at the front door. You can walk right in at the main level. It's just easy. CMOH takes care of everything for you. And since they're an independent practice, they work with medical systems all around the area, and they schedule your appointments for you. They take all the stress off of your plate. They're the best. I love these folks. They're family to me because they gave me my life back. Visit CMOH.org. A cancer diagnosis is not a death sentence. Take care of yourself and take care of those you love. Let CMOH help you on the path. The consultants in medical oncology and hematology. Tell them John Kincade sent you.
Don't forget, coming up at 8:05, we speak with Andrew DeCecco. His thoughts on the debacle that took place at Lincoln Financial Field. I know he's a very calm individual. What was he like yesterday during the game, John? You were sitting next to him.
He was not pleased with me in the fourth quarter. He was, but in the fourth quarter, I was very upset with the play calling and the clock management.
Okay,
which is terrible. And he's like, "Look, John, just let it play out."
Oh, okay.
Let it play out.
And then it played out.
But he is so freaking analytical.
Yeah.
And you can learn. It's so funny. Is Bleeding Green Nation's Brandon Lee Galton.
Yeah, he's great.
Is a great football resource. And I love being able to. And I literally ask them both questions from time to time, going, "Okay, what'd you see there?"
Yeah.
And they're really good resources, both of them. It's great. I really enjoyed it, and I'll look forward to another year of Eagles football.
Well, we will speak with Andrew at 8:05, but it is time now for the Monday Morning Radio host.
Now, the Monday Morning Radio host on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And it's brought to us by who, Connor?
Our friends over at Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, like being victimized by the Eagles offense all year, remember the name, Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com.
If you're just joining us for the first time today, welcome. This is what we do best. We don't break down film. We break down what other people say. Nick Sirianni.
We're so good at that.
Here he is after the game yesterday talking about why the offense stalled in the second half.
Felt like that was kind of our story as the year progressed, and like you said, good first half. Didn't do a good enough job coaching. Didn't do a good enough job executing in the second half. In that third quarter, particularly, some penalties got us behind the sticks. We had a hard time overcoming them.
Behind the sticks, they played more behind the sticks than any team on offense in the NFL.
So, John, when you were out during the holidays, I played a game called What Week Did He Say It? And it was basically that.
Same thing. Oh, okay.
And we would play random clips, and we had callers trying to win Sixers tickets. And whoever was closest to the week won the Sixers tickets.
Was anybody getting it exactly? Because there's so many opportunities.
There were some people that had that right church, wrong pew, like they were one game off.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, though. Now
that's a good game. That's a very good game.
When asked why this seemed to happen all season long, here's his answer, but take a listen to the first three words.
I don't know. Obviously, those are things that we always work our ass off to try to fix any situation and every situation that we can. And you know what? At the end of the day, we didn't do a good enough job of doing that. And that starts with me.
Why was it a problem all season long? I don't know. That's good. I'm glad you're the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. You don't know. Look, I don't want him fired. But you know as sure as hell he ain't picking the next OC.
No, I don't want – he has lost that right.
Remember when he tried spinning that he hired Kellen Moore?
Oh, yeah, he tried
and then
spinning
Diana
that
Rossini, 3 minutes later, was on a podcast saying, I don't know where that's coming from because that's not true.
Nah, that really didn't work like that.
It will never be true again. He will never get a chance to hire another offense coordinator ever again.
No, and he shouldn't.
No.
He shouldn't.
He's 0 for 2.
Right.
Here he is talking about the exchange, because there was an exchange between him and A.J. Brown during the game.
I was trying to get him off the field, because we were about to punt, and that was really it. So I love A.J. I think he knows how I feel about him. I have a special relationship with him. We've probably went through every emotion you can possibly have together. We've laughed together. We've cried together. We've yelled at each other. We're both emotional. I was trying to get him off the field, and that happens in this game. That happens in this game, but I love him.
Well, then A.J. left the locker room without speaking to anybody, and that was probably the last time we've ever seen him in an Eagles uniform.
I would think so.
And it's not just because of drama. Think about the money that's at stake with the Eagles. They need to start paying the players on defense.
Right.
You predicted it last year that one of the high-paid Eagles players will not be here in 2026.
And I thought he's absolutely gone. I think he's gone.
So A.J. Brown, that may have been it. Our last memory of A.J. Brown was drops.
And the thing is, I want him to I don't wish him ill because he was a great Eagle.
I love him.
But I got to tell you, I'm okay with him going. I'm not going to lose any sleep with what I saw this year because he was a guy who had checked out. He checked out.
Yeah. A lot of people that question this in real time, not hindsight. On the 4th and 11, before the Jalen Hurts throwing a quadruple coverage to Dallas Goedert, the Eagles called a timeout, and there were people in real time saying, hey, you should save that timeout because if you don't convert, you will have 3 timeouts to at least try to get a stop and give yourself one more chance. They only had 2. Niners kneel the ball, game over. Here was Sirianni explaining it.
No, it wasn't because of that. We wanted to see what defense we were in. We didn't think that there was going to be a great opportunity to get the ball back with enough time to do anything if we stopped them. We knew that was going to be the last possession, so we took a picture of what they thought they were going to do, give ourselves some information, and that's why.
Admittedly, I didn't hate the timeout. I'll be honest.
I didn't
hate the timeout. It's then he's telling you we took a picture and that was our answer. Was 4 verticals into the teeth of a cover 4.
Thing is, it doesn't.
And Jalen Hurts is going to throw in a quadruple coverage.
But it doesn't make sense to take the timeout.
Right, because you want to give yourself the chance. I get it, but
it doesn't make sense. So what did you like about it? That's poor clock management.
Because it's 4th and 11. Yeah. If it was 2nd and 11, that's one thing.
It's
I hate
poor
it.
clock management.
But it's 4th and 11. Like, if they don't convert, they're not winning, period.
I understand, but you just converted a play very similar to that with Dallas Goedert before. But you gave yourself no chance to win if it doesn't convert. To me, it's their clock management is horrendous. Absolutely horrendous.
I didn't hate the timeout. I hated then let's just run a play that doesn't make sense against this coverage. All right, that's it, Connor. I want to get a text message. There were 2 more clips I wanted to play. It was just more so for me to laugh, so I don't cry. It was Sirianni talking about the wind affecting the downfield passing, and then later on in the press conference, he was asked about Jawan Jennings throwing a touchdown pass, and I kind of wanted to make the joke about how the wind didn't affect the wide receiver. But I don't want to be too much of a D-bag today. What do we got in the text line?
Des from South Philly checks in, says Nick Sirianni's stubbornness and arrogance cost us an opportunity this season. One of his strengths is one of his greatest weaknesses, believing in his guys no matter what your eyes and the data is telling you.
Coming up at 8:30, all I wrote was wasted season. So I'm right there with you, Des.
I mean, seriously, the arrogance, and I used that word a couple weeks ago, and people were like, can't believe you're using that word with Nick Sirianni. It's arrogance.
Well, no, you can believe it with Sirianni.
It's arrogance.
He's a very arrogant coach.
It's complete arrogance.
Whether he's good or not, he's an arrogant head coach. All right, coming up next, we'll check more of your text messages. We'll sort of reset what we've been going on today. It's not been a fun day, obviously. Andrew the Checo joins us at 8:05. It's Kincade and Salciunas. We appreciate all of you that are part of it today. We're commiserating together here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Eagles season is over. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles' dream of defending their Super Bowl title ended yesterday as the 49ers came into Lincoln Financial Field and knocked them off 23-19. The final, the Eagles scored only 6 points in the second half. 2 Jake Elliott field goals were all the offense could put together. The defense didn't have their best day either, allowing 361 total yards to the Niners offense. Jalen Hurts met with the media after the game, and he talked about how this season has gone with offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo.
I think I'm always growing. I'm always taking in my experiences and learning from everything that we go through. It's tough to single out one individual, especially in a moment like this. We all got to improve. That's how I look at everything that we go through.
So Jalen Hurts is not putting the blame on one man. People in the fan base may be. And this offseason now begins for the Birds, which is going to have some tough decisions. What happens with offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo? The future of some key players on the roster also up in the air. We'll keep you updated on the fallout. The Sixers fell to the Raptors 116-115 in overtime last night. They play in Toronto again tonight at 7:30. You can hear that game live here on The Fanatic. Flyers host the Lightning tonight at 7 p.m. You can hear that game over on WMMR. Andrew DeCecco joins us coming up next. This update is brought to you by IHOP. IHOP's value menu is here. Enjoy breakfast favorites like pancakes, eggs, and bacon, French toast with sausage, or a cheesy omelet with pancakes, all for just $6. Go to your happy plates with the $6 IHOP value menu. I'm Connor Thomas for your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic.
It is a season over Monday here on the Fanatic, presented to us by the local Bryant home cover team. Visit nopaybryant.com to keep your HVAC in the starting lineup. It is Kincade Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. We appreciate everybody that's been a part of the show today. We're here together. Regardless of how you felt going into the playoffs, regardless of how you felt 6 weeks ago, or regardless of how you felt in August, we're all Eagles fans, and we're all here together. And yesterday sucked, regardless of expectations, and it was a kick in the nuts. And unfortunately, we started the show talking about how everything that we worried about played out yesterday. What if the defense does not have a perfect day? They did not have a perfect day yesterday, and yet the Eagles' offense could not bail them out. That's the problem. 18 games. Terrible. I would say 13 games this year, the Eagles' offense had been bailed out by the Eagles' defense.
Okay.
Or
I don't think that's a problem.
Or maybe 11 or whatever, because they lost some of those games, like the Broncos and the Cowboys games. But whenever the defense needed a bit of a help, whenever the defense needed a life raft, their only life raft, and I know we joke around about it a lot, but I'm serious. The defense's only life raft this year has been Braden Mann, punting it deep.
By the way, he had a wonderful day yesterday, too.
Punting it deep into opposing territory, because the Eagles' offense has not been able to sustain drives all year. It's why we've mentioned the historic rate in which they are going 3 and out this year. Or at one point, I saw one of I forget which game it was. It might have been the Monday night game against the Chargers, where they flashed the graphic. The Eagles' average yards to gain a first down on third down was like third or fourth worst in the league this year.
Tennessee, the teams are terrible.
Very bad football teams. Yeah. So these things that we worried about, what if the defense didn't have their perfect game? Can the offense score at least 24 points? I believe the number we gave at one point was like literally 25.
Yes.
They couldn't score 24 points.
No, I said 24 they wouldn't lose.
Well,
and 24 they wouldn't have lost.
Now, look, if Jake Elliott makes an extra point.
Yeah, thanks, Jake.
And they kick a field goal, they go to overtime, who knows how that plays out.
Thanks, Jake.
But all season long, it's been the same storyline. And when we just did the Monday morning radio host, when Sirianni was asked why this had happened all season long, his first 3 words were, "I don't know." And that's a problem. And so when people talk about wanting to move on from Nick Sirianni, I don't think anybody, John, is crazy to say it. Because you have to sit here.
What do you mean, get rid of Sirianni? You don't think they're crazy to say it?
Hear me out.
Okay.
I'm not doing it. All right, I'm not doing it.
I think they are crazy to say it.
But this is when people say it's just going to be the same question or problem next year.
Why do they say that?
You bring in another offensive coordinator.
Okay.
You hope that offensive coordinator has a clue. If they do have a clue, odds are they're going to go somewhere else.
Okay, I'll take my chances. I'll take my chances of right now. All the best names are out there right now. I will take my chances that one of the best names is going to want to come and work with all of these great names. And I'll take my chances that 2026 can be a great season, and I'll deal with 2027 after. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that. But to me, the problem is at that point, you now know what – look, the Emperor has no clothes.
Yeah,
know what Nick Sirianni,
he doesn't know how to run an offense.
He knows how to do other things well.
Yes, culture.
But
sometimes,
I think culture sort of sucked. Got to tell you. Yeah. The culture sort of sucks.
You know the culture has sucked in 2 years? 2023 and 2025.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I'm glad I can talk to you guys because, my wife doesn't know anything about sports. At one point yesterday, I was like, you know what's wild? And I know I was just talking to a brick wall because she doesn't know sports. Think about Nick Sirianni's playoff resume.
Okay.
Wild card loss, Super Bowl appearance, wild card loss, Super Bowl appearance and victory, wild card loss.
There you go.
It's one or the other.
No,
it's either they go the distance to the Super Bowl or they lose in the first round of the playoffs. It's been a pattern.
That's what it is.
Coop's learning about patterns at home right now. I could tell him that the Eagles' playoff history with Nick Sirianni is a pattern.
Well, I can tell you the pattern's not. Look, I will take. I will not join the get rid of Nick Sirianni crew. And neither one of us, none of us are there on this show.
But I don't think it's crazy to say what if they brought in an actual offensive-minded coach.
Well, here's the dopes that I hear. And I will tell you, I will be a little rough, and I will say the dopes. Oh, man, Harbaugh's out there. You got to go get Harbaugh. Harbaugh doesn't know a damn thing about running an offense.
Yeah.
Do you realize what has been a problem with John Harbaugh? He doesn't know how to run an offense either, and that's what they constantly complain about. And then he churns through offensive coordinators, and his team underachieves because the offense sucks. So if you're one of those people that's going, well, John Harbaugh's out there, go get John Harbaugh. He doesn't understand it either. So you don't want that. If you're telling me go get one of the bright offensive minds, then maybe I'll at least listen to you, but I don't want that. I don't advocate for it at all.
By the way, we obviously just did Monday Morning Radio Host. We're about to speak with our man, Andrew DeCecco, and then we're going to check a lot of your texts and calls. So if you want to be a part of the show today, you can. 610-632-0975. Voice your frustration. You deserve it. The Eagles, by the way, deserve hearing it.
They do. They really
absolutely deserve hearing it. Joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. All season long, tremendous job. Every season, he's been doing it. Tremendous job from Inside the Birds. And, of course, here on 97.5, The Fanatic. Another great year of content, unfortunately, ended too soon. Our man, Andrew DeCecco, joins us. Andrew, good morning. How are we?
Hey, good morning, guys. Doing well. I wish I had another week of coverage because I had a lot of stories I wanted to get to, but it's the way it goes.
Yeah, unfortunately, it died in the second half again. Andrew, so we played Nick Sirianni's answer earlier today, a couple times today, when he was asked why it seemed like every single week the second half offense went dead. He gave an answer where he kind of did his word salad like usual, but his first three words were "I don't know." And to me, that's a problem, right? That you give me "I don't know." It's January 11th yesterday. It's the playoff game. And in a question that was there all season long, your answer immediate was "I don't know." So I'll ask you, what do you believe was one of the biggest issues for this Eagles offense in the second half, where they were one of the worst offenses in second halves this year in football?
Yeah, in my estimation, it had a lot to do with teams looking to counter what the Eagles were doing and try to find a way to combat that, and the Eagles struggling to adjust. And that's coaching and that's players. So for example, if there was a team that was blitzing or pressuring Jalen Hurts in the first half, in the second half they would not do that, and they would go heavy zone where Jalen hasn't been as efficient, and kind of try to have you think they're doing one thing and then go do something else. So I think it was just a lack of being able to adjust, which is across the board problematic.
When you look at this team and where they ended up, do you feel there was a point where this season turned south?
No, not really, John. It felt like this was kind of inevitable, right? Because for anyone to believe that the Eagles were going to flip a switch in the postseason, well, I mean, that wasn't really realistic. I know that they have the playoff pedigree. I talked a lot about that. But this offense is what it is, and I think it kind of had a steady line across this season. I don't know if there were any peaks and valleys because this offense has underwhelmed throughout the season for many reasons, but I just never saw any glimpses. Now I guess you have seen some spurts, but you haven't seen them put together 4 consecutive quarters of prolific offense as this group, that's assembled should. And so I don't know if there was ever a dip or a low point. It was more so just more of the same, if that makes sense.
So I'll ask the question. I believe it's inevitable at this point, but do you see the Philadelphia Eagles keeping Kevin Patullo as the offensive coordinator?
Well, it's hard to envision just based off of everything. I mean, his name right now, he's very well known, and probably not for good reasons. I know that a lot of folks have been calling for a replacement for weeks now, but I would say this: be careful what you wish for, because the problems are deeper. You can swap out the offensive coordinator, but that doesn't mean that these problems go away. You may have a different look for a few weeks, but it's going to go back to the Nick Sirianni offense. That's his philosophy. And I think what really drives that point home is when you listen to Saquon Barkley in the locker room, and he said, yeah, I mean, even though we had a new offensive coordinator and some new coaches, this is still the same script that we were doing last year. So, I mean, the only difference is that they had a prolific running attack. And if the Eagles don't have a prolific rushing attack, this is what the offense is going to look like. It's going to be risk averse. They're going to prioritize protecting the football and playing really close to the vest, and rely on the running game and take your shots when it's necessary, and have your quarterback be an efficient game manager. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, I mean, when you are efficient at it and you win a Super Bowl, you want to go back to the well. But guess what? 31 other teams go back and they look and see how they can sort of crack the code there, and they spent the whole offseason doing that. And I think you saw the league reacting to the way the Eagles play.
So my follow-up to that will be, is there any chance that the higher-ups say, all right, we're going to pick the offensive coordinator, and that offensive coordinator will have control of said offense? Because let's face it, I don't believe Nick Sirianni's fingerprints are on the defense all that much. We know it's the Vic Fangio show. I get what you're saying about what Nick Sirianni may want, but you just mentioned it. You hit it. Defensive coordinators know what Nick Sirianni wants. They figured it out. That's why the offense sucked all season long. So is there a chance that they hire some veteran offensive coordinator that's not looking for head coaching jobs down the road, and they say, hey, you got the keys to the offense, Nick, you just make sure everybody's playing nice?
Yeah, I'm sure they could, but you may see them have their fingerprints on the offense, and eventually you're going to see a lot of shades of the offense that we've seen over the last few seasons. I say, for example, Andrew, go back and watch Kellen Moore's offense before he got to Philadelphia, and then the offense that he has with the Saints, where he's doing more with less, and you can clearly see that he was under a different philosophy here in Philadelphia, and that is the directive of Nick Sirianni. That's his vision. That's what he wants. So I guess what I'm getting at is you can swap the names out, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to see this razzle-dazzle, Kyle Shanahan-like, Mike McDaniel, if you will, type of offense, because at the end of the day, it's going to be Nick Sirianni's philosophy, and that's the way that he believes he believes in protecting the football and playing risk-averse. He has a lot of conviction with that. And with Jalen Hurts as his quarterback, and they realized that dropping back 30 times a game wasn't conducive to long-term success. And it's kind of hard to argue, right, with the recent success the Eagles have had playing that way, but you have to adapt. That's to stay the same, to stay stagnant is going to be detrimental, and you have to make sure that you break trends because teams catch up. That's what they do in the offseason. So you can't rest on your laurels.
Well, Andrew, back in the day, it was like sort of made known that Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie didn't really like the offense that at times Doug Peterson ran, and they got heavy-handed about it, trying to impose their will about how they wanted things done. Why wouldn't they get involved in a new offensive coordinator and say, this is the style we want run, and let him do his thing? Like, is there any chance you would see that happening, where they say to Nick Sirianni, enough of this close to the vest crap. We want to see a more wide open offense, and you got to be okay with it, Nick, or we maybe want to think about doing something different.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to look at that now. But what I would also say, John, is when the Eagles did open things up against the Chargers, you saw what happened. You saw some good, but you also saw a lot of mistakes. The Eagles pride themselves on not turning the football over, and when you're opening things up and you're doing something, you're getting out of what you ordinarily do. I think you saw why they don't necessarily open things up and why they have this vision. So, yeah, I mean, I believe we know how the Eagles want and their vision of how Jeffrey Lurie wants the offense to look. They want this high-flying offense, much like you see across the NFL. But Nick Sirianni has had a lot of success doing it a certain way up until recent, and when the NFL has seemingly caught up to it. So I'm really curious to see where they go from here, because something needs to change, because you can't go with the status quo. And if you want to be a run-heavy team like the Eagles do currently, they have to find out if Cam Jurgens is going to revert back to being the center that he was last season, right? That Landon Dickerson's going to be the left guard that he was last season, right? Because if not, you can't play that style of offense with a banged-up offensive line. It's just not going to work.
Andrew DeCecco joining us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Andrew, knowing how this season was with everything, I'm not just talking about on the field, First, what did you make of A.J. Brown not speaking to members of the media yesterday? Second, what is your belief on whether or not that was his last game in an Eagles uniform?
Yeah, obviously it makes it tough. So, guys, the last time he spoke was, I believe, December 8th, which was it was in the post-game locker room at when they played the Chargers. I was there for that. But he hasn't talked since. So you don't know what he's thinking. You don't know what's going through his mind. It's clear that he's not overly enthused with the offense. Right. There's always going to be a cap to what he's going to be able to provide to the offense, and we've talked about this, how he views himself and what he wants to do, and he wants that pressure, and he wants to, looking at the legacy and things like that. That's very important to AJ, and that's just not going to happen here. You're going to see an offense that isn't going to be high volume, and it's clear that he's frustrated with it, and the fact that he hasn't talked, you could kind of connect the dots there. He just kind of wanted to go about his business and not really, not be a distraction, I guess. And,
how do you not be accountable though after that performance, Andrew? How do you not like we saw Ryan?
Yeah, Sam. You would hope that he would be, because I'll tell you what, John. Every single player in that locker room was extremely accountable. Yep. They put the onus on them. Saquon Barkley, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Dallas Goedert. You go across the board, Jalen Hurts. So for someone who's a team captain, you would hope that you would at least hear what he had to say, and or that he would be willing to speak about it. And I mean, you can't help but have that in the back of your mind. Will we get a chance to talk to AJ again in Philadelphia?
Last thing for you, Andrew. Offense has obviously been the story. It's been the story since August. Defense did not play their best game yesterday. I can't sit here and grill the defense because not their best game still held a team to 23 points. But I'm curious, were there any players in particular that you thought struggled defensively for the Eagles yesterday?
Yeah, Andrew, I thought that the safety struggled a little bit. Reed Blankenship and Marcus Epps, it seemed like Kyle Shanahan was able to exploit the deep third level, I should say. And I was curious to see which coach, which offense was going to be able to try to test them there, and Kyle Shanahan was able to do so. And I also thought that the middle of the field was really patchy for the Eagles in this one, especially with Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean. I went into this game wondering if Kyle Shanahan was going to find a way to isolate Christian McCaffrey on Nakobe Dean, and it happened in the fourth quarter on that touchdown. Nakobe was in coverage. For as great as Nakobe has been this season, that was an obvious mismatch. And so I thought for a second level, the middle of the field that had been really tight and in coverage and sound tacklers, I thought that they were a little vulnerable, and then certainly the safeties as well. I was also curious that we didn't see a ton of pass rush from the edges.
Yeah.
I saw Jordan Davis had a phenomenal game. Jalen Carter got home for a sack. Moro Ojomo was hustling. Nolan Smith almost got home on that throw to the same play that I was talking about to McCaffrey, but there just wasn't that disruption that we've seen, especially from Jalen Hunt.
Real quick, did Vic Fangio have a good day yesterday?
I don't think so. I don't think so because he set the bar so high. And going into this game, John, what was the conversation centered around? Vic Fangio versus Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
Someone like Vic Fangio who is so influential in the NFL. Every team tries to imitate what he's able to do. And you have Kyle Shanahan, who's an offensive guru, and they respect each other so much. That's been what a lot of the conversation was going through the week. And I thought Kyle Shanahan got the upper hand. I thought Kyle Shanahan really put on a masterclass of offense and just overall control of that game.
Andrew, you did a great job all season
buddy.
long. We'll see you in studio later this week because there's still a lot to unpack from this past game, but also a lot of stuff to talk about with the upcoming offseason that started way too early for the Philadelphia Eagles. We appreciate all the work you do and all the time you've taken with us. We'll talk to you again soon.
Appreciate you guys. I'll see you Thursday.
There he is, Andrew DeCecco on the Comcast Business Hotline. He said it nicely. I'll say it more bluntly. I was waiting to speak to him before I said it on the air. Reed Blankenship sucked yesterday.
He had a bad day.
He sucked.
Is it his last game as an Eagle? Gut instinct.
Yes.
I think so, too.
And I would be okay with it. I mean, look, I get it. I'm unfair. I always point him out. I don't think he's that.
Why you're not being unfair?
Oh, you guys, Ed Reed Blankenship.
No. You're not being unfair.
I don't think he's that good. I think he really played well alongside Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for 2 years.
Do I think they can find somebody in the draft who could give them what Reed Blankenship gives them? Yes.
Guys, he's an undrafted free agent ultimately. And to his credit, has had a nice career. He'll get paid by somebody. He's a captain.
Yes, he's a good dude.
But he sucked yesterday.
Yeah.
And in the 2 years where you knew safety was an area where a team could exploit them, 2023, 2025, it happened. All right, coming up next, we did Monday Morning Radio host. We just had Andrew DeCecco on. Your texts, your calls, we run through it. So if you want to let your voice be heard, 610-632-0975. I know the text line's been buzzing. We'll check that, 610-632-0975. Also, just one thing to mention before we get to the texts and calls, which we will, I promise. It was a wasted season. We'll talk about that next year on The Fanatic.
You know, you need a Bradford White water heater in your home. You want to have hot water whenever you need it, on demand. And a lot of people are going now to their new Infinity tankless models or their Aerotherm hybrid heat pump models. Look, that sounds space age. It's not. It just means you're going to have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, and it's going to be really, really efficient. Oh, and by the way, your costs are going to go down. It's going to be great. Bradford Whites are awesome, and Bradford White's a local company, so they understand you as a Philadelphian, what you demand. And I guarantee you they're not happy this morning around the water heater as they talk about the birds. Bradford White water heater's built to be the best. So whether you want a 25, 50, 75-gallon Mac Daddy for your home or your business, or you want one of their new, super sleek, they're really small, little heat pumps you can use, or the tankless models, they're great because they're built to be the best. And plumbing professionals know all about Bradford Whites. Go to BradfordWhite.com. Find that plumbing professional near you. They'll bring the model to your home. They'll install it for peak efficiency, and then you'll understand how you heat your water. It matters. Choose Bradford White.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A brutal end for the Birds. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles' season came to an end yesterday. There will be no title defense. The 49ers came into Lincoln Financial Field and beat them 23-19 in the wild card round. The Eagles scored only 6 points in the second half as the offense once again failed to put together a complete game. Defense, not their best day either. They allowed 361 total yards to the Niners offense. Nick Sirianni met with the media yesterday. He talked after the game about the offensive issues that ultimately cost the Eagles their season.
Felt like that was kind of our story as the year progressed. Good first half, didn't do a good enough job coaching, didn't do a good enough job executing in the second half. Some penalties got us behind the sticks. We had a hard time overcoming them.
Unfortunately, now the offseason begins for the Birds, and they have some big-time decisions to make and a lot of questions to answer. The future of offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo is up in the air. Future of some key players on the roster, depending on contract situation, is up in the air as well. We'll keep you updated on the fallout from the first-round exit. Sixers fell to the Raptors 116-115 in overtime last night. They play again in Toronto tonight, 7:30 p.m. tip-off. You can hear that game live here on the Fanatic. Flyers host the Lightning at 7 p.m. You can hear that game live on WMMR. This update is brought to you by NJM Insurance. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries. I'm Connor Thomas for your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and the best Birds coverage. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
8:30 on this season over Monday, presented to us by our friends at the local Bryant Home Comfort Team. Visit OPayBryant.com to keep your HVAC in the starting lineup. Eagles lose to the Niners yesterday, 23-19. The number 24, 25, whatever we gave going into the playoffs. Can the Eagles score that many points if they allow the opposition to score into the 20s? And we got the answer very quickly. And that answer, unfortunately, was no. Jake Elliott misses the extra point, which takes away the opportunity to kick the game-tying field. He cannot be back next year.
He cannot be back, and I don't want to hear any spin about he's had down the year before and then last year in the playoffs. Enough.
No, he has now had back-to-back seasons where he's been bad, right? Like I get it. He did come through in the playoffs last year. I'll tip my cap to him, especially those kicks in the snow against the Rams. Tip my cap to him.
He's a legend. We love him. Everybody loves him.
Last year, he was 77%. He was 1 of 7 from 50-plus yards last year. This year, he was even worse with his overall percentage of 74%. He was 7 of 10 from 40 to 49. Like, we're watching guys kick from 68 yards and hit the back of the net down the middle.
He was the worst kicker in the NFL.
Back-to-back years, statistically. That's
it. So that's it. Jake Elliott, we all agree. Eagles legend. We will all cheer for him when he comes back and gets met. He's awesome. Love you, Jake. Thank you for everything you've done. But this team can't do it anymore.
And ultimately, call it like it is. This was a wasted season.
Wasted. Absolutely wasted. And more importantly, I mean, it just drives me crazy, again, that one of our listeners here just sending me a picture is the Kansas City Chiefs had a freaking crown painted in their locker room above the door. A crown. Like they literally passed around the crown when they won games as the champions. And this team ran from it. Ran in the opposite. Oh, no, don't call us the champs. We're not talking about it. Oh, I didn't even know it was Banner Night. Like, they ran from the expectations. They ran from the pressure. They ran from we want that on us. Terrible.
It was a wasted season. You know how the way the NFL works, a lot of times teams feel the need that they have to win when their quarterback's on a rookie contract, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Eagles have the benefit of having one of the best defenses in the NFL, almost all on rookie contracts. The reason why this season was wasted, you have the number one, the highest paid offense in the NFL. You have one of the best defenses in the NFL that is getting paid more than half less than what your offense is getting.
You bought an Audi A8 and you turned it over to your 16-year-old.
You promoted a guy to be your offensive coordinator that has never called plays before in his life. And the head coach that is his friend never took the opportunity to either strip him of said play calling duties to give it to himself or to give it to somebody else that is on the staff that could have done it. Nobody's saying that Scott Loeffler was going to be the next second coming of name your favorite offensive coordinator of all time.
He's had better success calling plays in his life than we have now seen out of Kevin Petullo.
When people say you don't know, it could have been worse, or it could have been better, or it could have been the same. This offense sucked all season long. And so ultimately, it was a wasted season when you had the opportunity that you had to go to the playoffs, host a playoff game. Your offense has all this talent on it. Your defense is that good, and they have not been paid yet. And, oh, boy, be ready. They're going to get paid soon. For you to lose one game, to lose in the first round, it's one thing if they got to the NFC Championship game and lost a tough one to whoever. You lose round one to a banged-up 49ers team. This season has officially become labeled as a wasted season.
It was awful. And to just lose this like this, to pass on, it's terrible.
Let's go to Chris in San Antonio. What's up, Chris?
Hey, good morning, guys. How you guys feeling?
Good,
we're
Chris.
okay.
How are you?
Yeah, I watched the game yesterday. It's good having some Philly fans here in Texas watching it. But yeah, even I heard you guys say open the playbook. Even if Sirianni doesn't even have a playbook because he can't call plays. I was telling some of my friends, he seems more like a counselor, not a coach. He's a counselor.
You're the second person today that said that, Chris. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause, like, look at it. Like, you hear him in the like in the talks, like in the conferences, like when he's talking, he doesn't like speak with authority. He fumbles over his words. Like he's not very. It's just crazy. And then also, yeah, Patullo's not great, but like you said, you give the teenager the keys to the Porsche. Like ever since Sirianni came in, like when we had Shane Steichen, Sirianni was calling plays. It took the plays away from him, and like Shane was calling it. Everything was good back then. Yeah, like it was like the perfect storm. Like throughout the years, the offense was great. Like you don't have, it's like a Tesla. You don't have to do anything. You can let it ride itself, and just if it's going one way, kind of steer it back in the direction.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem. They never could steer it back, Chris. Like the issue with the Eagles, it's again the second half points per game that I gave earlier. They finished the season, including yesterday, averaging 9.7 points per second half, only ahead of the Saints, Falcons, Titans, Dolphins, Raiders, and Browns, all teams who missed the playoffs. The reason why that's important to point out is because they come out the gate usually pretty strong, and then at the halftime, defenses make adjustments. So you're talking about if you're going off course, just grab the steering wheel and go back. There was a roadblock, and they didn't know how to take the detour every time at halftime.
Well, that's because like they had all that time, all that preparation to work on the first half, like play calling and what they're going to do. Like, because they say everything's scripted the first half. But then the second half, like you said, when they make adjustments, Patullo, well, he can't do it. Sirianni, he can't do it because he's a counselor. He can't I'm going to take authority and
because he doesn't know. He also doesn't know the answer, Chris. I appreciate the call. Like if whenever I send my son to summer camp, like I'm not sending him so that like there's people that are going to speak wisdom to him. It's to get him out of the house for a few days.
Correct.
Right? Like Coop's not going to be asking these guys for life lessons. You know what I mean? Eagles averaged 12.4 points per first half this year. Doesn't sound like that much, but that was good for ninth.
How much in the second
NFL? 9.7.
That's great.
Those other teams that are in the top 10 were also in the top 10 in the second half. It means they kept it going. What I'll do is during this, one of our breaks, I'll see how many of the teams in the top 10 are also in the top 10 for second half, because I would imagine the majority of them stayed consistent. The Eagles fell off a cliff because at halftime, opposing teams made adjustments, and the incompetent offensive coordinator that is Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni also not having a clue when it comes to running an offense, they have not been able to answer said adjustments.
It's the big deal with this team too is that you got to have leadership, and I criticized it back when the veterans in 2023 for not getting the car back on the road. Where was the veteran leadership this year? Like, where is it? Is when A.J. Brown's pulling all that crap.
Well, he is the veteran leadership.
Is he?
That's the problem.
Then everybody else is mute? Nobody else has anything to say about it? Nobody else says, no, this is not how we go about our business? This isn't what we do? We don't tweet? We don't put stuff on Instagram? We don't do that? Come on. Is it just because one of the teams,
that's AJ being AJ,
one team, and that's where that garbage just falls apart. I'm tired of that crap. We're not talking about high school kids here. We're talking about supposed grown men, and that's just AJ being AJ, or he's trying to protect his own peace of mind. Enough of that crap. Ridiculous. Yep. He didn't care when he's using his veiled stuff to go after and attack Kevin Patullo or his quarterback or anybody else. But then last night, when he had a chance to be accountable and a chance to stand there and answer questions, he ran. He cut and he ran.
Yeah.
It's disgraceful.
Let's go to Dominic in Billings, Montana. What's up, Dominic?
Good morning, guys.
What's up, man?
I'll tell you one thing, man. I'm an old dude. I remember the Eagles when they were a really bad team in the 70s. And I've never been more embarrassed than to be a fan than I am today. You can't beat a depleted 49ers team, and you can only score 19 points with all of the offensive weapons that they have? Or you can't. Either that guy is either stupid, dumb, or just, I don't know, but that guy's got to go.
Well, he'll be
That's got to be the worst offensive coordinator I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's going to be gone, and I would believe it would come fairly quickly because you want to make sure that you take advantage of it while some of the greatest names are out there right now.
Right. So why can't this guy adjust? Isn't that what a good coordinator is? Offense or defense, you make adjustments after the other team makes an adjustment.
He couldn't win. He couldn't adjust in a game of Candyland.
We're not professionals, like I said. We don't do this for a living. But even the simplest, the person with even the most simplest concept of how the game is played knows that when you would see a weakness, attack it. What game was that when Bigsby was ripping up the first half and the second half he didn't get a touch? What kind of idiot does something like that? You exploited their weakness. Was that against the Bears?
No, well, the Bears game was just a mess all over.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly which game, Dominic. But I mean, it was all season. How about this? It was all season long. Bigsby would get a couple carries, look really good, and then he'd never get the ball again.
So bad. So bad.
Hey, by the way, coming up at 10 o'clock, Middays with Marks, congratulations to Sean Brace. Announced it over the weekend, officially on board, moving forward.
Oh, that's great.
So we'll see Sean Brace coming up at 10 o'clock with our man Johnny Marks. Sean also did Saturday morning the other day. So good to see Sean Brace back involved more.
Good.
With 97.5 The Fanatic.
That is good news.
You know, it was awesome. When he posted, I was really happy for him. And, of course, Unfiltered at 2 o'clock today. I hung out with Ricky Bo yesterday during the watch party, and everybody was miserable. Party was fun until the game ended. All right, coming up next, Jalen Hurts does need his own segment today. We'll talk about him next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, let's check out that FanDuel Sportsbook app. Final wildcard matchup tonight, and FanDuel is turning on playoff mode. All customers get a profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Tonight, you're going to be packed, loaded, multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the app. I like Houston to win this football game against the Steelers. The bet that I gave when we did our pick segment on Friday that I'm still waiting to play out today, the under in passing yards for Aaron Rodgers. That Houston Texans defense is legit. I really like that Texans defense. So I think Aaron Rodgers under hits in terms of passing yards. Take your shot on the upset, build a parlay that fits the moment. Whatever you want to do, then apply your profit boost and go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. Visit FanDuel.com/local, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. You got to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania, opt-in required, bonus issued as non-triple profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. going to talk about Jalen Hurts for multiple minutes coming up here in a second. But I did the research during the break.
What'd you do?
So I mentioned to you guys that the Eagles were 26th in the NFL for second half points, the average of 9.7 points per second half. That was 26th in the NFL. They were 9th in first half points. So it shows that at halftime, teams make adjustments and the Eagles soil themselves.
Correct.
Right? Falling from 9th to 26th, the Eagles soil themselves.
Terrible.
Patriots were the best first half offense in the NFL. Now, they were 16th in the second half, but I can tell you why. They had the third best point differential in the NFL. What were they doing in the second half? They were up big, so they ran the ball. So they weren't trying to score touchdowns.
Against a terrible schedule.
Against a very terrible schedule. Dallas was second in the first half, 14th in the second half. Then you start getting the parity here. Rams were third in the first half, second in the second half. Lions, their offense wasn't the problem. Fourth in the first half, sixth in the second half.
Wow.
And oh, by the way, they fired their offensive coordinator because they weren't happy enough.
Yeah, in his first year, by the way.
Colts.
In his first year.
Yep.
They didn't just sit there and say, "Hey, oh, and by the way, he was a buddy of the head coach."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he still moved on from.
Yeah.
Colts, despite the injuries, 5th best first half offense, 10th best second half offense. Jags, 6th best first half, 8th best second half. Seahawks, 7th best first half, 5th best second half. Niners, 8, 11. I'll skip the Eagles. Texans, 10th, 15th. So right around that same page.
Wow.
Eagles, 9th best first half team, 26th best second half team. Obviously, the biggest change from first half to second half, either up and down among all the teams in the NFL.
Wow.
Is that bad?
Yes. Halftime adjustments, Eagles soil themselves. It happened all season long. All season.
It's great analysis.
Stared us right in the face all season long. Did I pick the Eagles to win on yesterday? Yes. Am I shocked that they lost? Absolutely not. Now, let's talk about Jalen Hurts.
I'm a dope because I am shocked they lost.
Yeah, I have zero surprise.
I'm a dope.
Their offense sucks.
I'm shocked they lost. Because I looked at the opponent. I spent too much time looking at the opponent and not looking at what was right in front of me. And that's on me. That is absolutely on me.
But you're not alone. Like a lot.
Oh, no, I'm not alone. But I mean, I'm going to own it though. I mean, I absolutely spent too much time looking at their problems.
Oh.
Not ours.
It happened.
Dumb. Dumb.
So let's talk about Jalen Hurts for a few minutes. We talked about it earlier. He was not perfect yesterday. Am I putting him at number one to blame for yesterday's game? Absolutely not. And again, if there's a couple of caught passes that weren't dropped by AJ2 specifically that I point out, and then the Devontae drop at the end,
okay, now
the game may be completely different.
Player-wise, though, Connor, you said something earlier, and I wrote it down. You said not even close to being blamed. So if we take A.J. Brown had a terrible game.
Yeah.
Jalen's not even in, like, your top 4 or 5 yesterday?
Well, I'll go Reed over Jalen.
Oh, I'll go Reed over Jalen. So will I.
Jake Elliott over Jalen. I'll go Cam Jurgens over Jalen.
Cam Jurgens was terrible.
Look around.
But the thing is, though, Cam Jurgens, it did in the second half in the run game. It really hurt.
In the run game, he had time. Jalen Hurts had time to throw. By the way,
Jalen Hurts had time to throw,
but
it's just in the run game it was terrible.
When he did have time to throw,
Cam was terrible.
The concepts sucked.
Right, he had a couple times he got out of the pocket too soon,
and he was this whole running east-west crap. There were so many lanes he had yesterday to run north-south.
But if he
runs east-west.
If I'm watching Drake May, if I'm watching Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, other quarterbacks in the NFL, they're running east-west. And you know what happens? When they create that extra time, the route concepts develop more and the guys get open.
Oh, wait a minute here. I watched Drake May last night run east-west, turn it up north-south. Drake May ran for a record amount of yardage for a Patriots quarterback ever in a playoff game.
Right. My point is the other guys extending plays in the NFL have plays to extend.
Yeah, but you got to turn it up. Like, Jalen won't turn it up.
Yes.
He waits and waits and waits and waits and waits. Sometimes it's okay to just go, I can turn this up and take 3 yards and slide, get the 3 yards, live to fight another day. He literally runs vertical and then just takes a 1 yard gain or a no gain and runs out of bounds or throws it out of bounds.
Totally agree. But it's the same reason we're not talking about like Saquon getting stopped at the line as a Saquon problem. Because, yeah, there are guys that can make dudes miss behind the line. Sometimes you'll have great runs based on that. But you can't build an offense based on Jalen Hurts gets out of the pocket, then has to turn it up, then has to get down. Like, at some point, guys got to come open on routes, or they're terrible routes. And yesterday, he delivered the balls I think he needed to, and he didn't have the plays that should have been made because there weren't plays to be made.
So earlier I said to you, I don't blame anyone for thinking, what if you fired Sirianni and you brought in an offensive-minded, head coach?
Okay.
There's going to be people that are doing the same thing with Hurts. Like, what if you had a quarterback that was more of a stand tall in the pocket, strike, right? Strong arm. It's sure. Look, I know people get upset by it because some of these guys have number one. Remember we had Jeff McClain, used to join us every week, and there was one point where he said nobody's untouchable. If the Bengals offered Joe Burrow for Jalen Hurts, the Eagles would do that in a second. People got so upset with that clip, and I don't know why. It was just something that he said in passing, talking about A.J. Brown's potential trade at the trade deadline. But, the Eagles would probably do that trade because they have an offense that's built to throw the football a lot more than it is to run the football. They ran the football so well last year, they couldn't stop. They had to keep doing it. It worked. There was no point of stopping. But what you saw this year was when the offense was not running the football well enough, they needed to turn to Jalen more. There was majority of the blame still is Patullo. Stand by it. And Nick Sirianni's, very safe offensive game plan. But it's not like Hurts was spectacular this year.
No, he was not. He was absolutely not.
When they needed him, he didn't come through much.
He did not have a coach, though, who could put him in a position to succeed.
I get it.
When he's had good coaching, he's looked great.
Look, they didn't have to play from behind all that much this year. Yesterday they did. And it was bad. All around, not just him. AJ's got to catch the freaking football.
He does, or to just be accountable. Maybe for his next team, he'll be accountable.
All right, coming up next, we've had 3 hours to talk about yesterday's game. Why not another one? We'll keep on talking about the Eagles losing to the 49ers yesterday. We want to hear from you, 610-632-0975. Let your voice be heard. Let your texts be heard. But also, 3 hours, we've talked a lot about who to blame. Let's actually rank them. You want to go 5? We'll each do 5, top 5 people to blame. We'll go through that quickly next, and we'll see if we're right around the same page. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles won and done. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles' dreams of defending their Super Bowl title ended yesterday with a first-round exit to the San Francisco 49ers, 23-19, the final score of the Eagles' offense. Well, same story we've seen all year. They scored only 6 points in the second half, both coming off of Jake Elliott's field goals, and once again, they just failed to put together a complete game. The defense didn't have their best day either. They allowed 361 total yards to the Niners' offense. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts both talked after the game, and neither really had answers. Here was Jalen Hurts' breakdown of how his year went under Kevin Patullo.
I think I'm always growing. I'm always taking in my experiences and learning from everything that we go through. It's tough to single out one individual, especially in a moment like this. We all got to improve. That's how I look at everything that we go through.
Don't tell that to the fan base, though. They're singling people out, and Kevin Patullo, one of the names that are hot in the streets when it comes to who's to blame for the Eagles. We'll see what the future of the offense coordinator is and some key players on the roster with contract situations. We'll keep you updated on the fallout from the first-round exit. Sixers fell to the Raptors last night in overtime. They play again in Toronto tonight, 7:30 p.m. You can hear that game live here on The Fanatic. Flyers host the Lightning at 7 p.m. You can hear that game over on WMMR. This update is brought to you by AAA Tire and Auto Service. Save up to $30 on auto repair with the AAA Triple Play only at AAA Tire and Auto Service. Offer valid through January 31st. Details at AAA.com/mycar. I'm Connor Thomas for your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic.
It is a season-ending Monday. Brought to us by the local Bryant Home Comfort Team. Visit NoPayBryant.com to keep your HVAC in the starting lineup. Real quick, before we get back to our texts and calls and we give our 5 reasons, 5 people to blame, person, player, whatever. I get why people do certain stupid things. It's to get clicks and everything. I'm glad that you pointed it out on social media yesterday.
I did it yesterday, and then Lombardi I got this morning. Lombardi's kid.
What?
With the fake.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you knew where I was going.
I did know another one of the content aggregators from the 49ers.
So
saying that the Eagle fans were not cheering George Kittle.
And they were singing like, nah, 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 hey, hey, goodbye.
Now, could there have been somebody that was?
Definitely. I bet you there was.
There may have been an a-hole in the stands that did that. Overwhelmingly, the fans were cheering George Kittle. You can hear it. Every bit of audio, every bit of video that you can get.
There's literally video that shows people giving him a standing ovation.
The folks at KNBR were trying to propagate this crap without sound.
Sure, of course.
And then they're doing – I mean, it's so ridiculous.
I don't get it. I thought – I mean, you were there. Eagles fans giving a standing ovation. Eagles fans were ravenous, I thought, the entire game.
And it really wasn't it wasn't a standing ovation, but it was there was absolutely respect paid in applause and otherwise, and there was silence when he was down.
There was probably one person, right? Like I told you the story. I sat next to this woman once at a Flyers game watching the Penguins, and she was screaming, "Somebody give Sidney Crosby another concussion." Like, that's horrible. And I told her as much. I said that is a horrible thing to say. And so, yeah, there's people that do it. I bet you there's somebody in San Francisco that if an Eagle player had an injury on their field, somebody would say, yeah, good. But, like, one person isn't an entire fan base. I don't get it.
It's so poor, and it's really bad. And these content aggregators have gotten really bad at their jobs.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the more you click on them, the more you are making them money, and the more you just perpetuate this myth.
Yeah, it's horrible. All right, I wrote down my 5. I'm curious how close we are. Ordering might be a little bit different. A number one person or people to blame. I did a combo package, Sirianni/Patullo. It is what Sirianni wants to do. It's Patullo not having a clue. And, oh, by the way, Sirianni's the reason why he got hired. So I go Sirianni/Patullo, number one reason why they lost yesterday. Then I gave A.J. Brown with the dropsies. Then I put Reed Blankenship third. I thought he had a horrible game yesterday. Like he sucked yesterday, with all due respect.
Terrible.
Cooper DeJean might need to find a new co-host. Jake Elliott, number 4, because if you make the extra point, you're kicking a field goal in that situation instead of throwing it on 4th and 11. And then who knows what happens in overtime? Would we still be thrilled with how the game played out?
They absolutely would have had a 50-50 chance to win that game at the best, at least.
All it took was making an extra point. And then lastly, I actually put pass rush before I put Jalen because Brock Purdy was way too comfortable all game yesterday. Only 3 tackles for loss for the Eagles yesterday, only 1 sack yesterday, and I believe it was Jalen Carter who had that 1 sack. The pass rush was non-existent. In a game where they had really nobody to throw to, right? Like, this Robinson guy has the best game of his life, but ultimately they had nobody to throw to. And the fact that the pass rush, and again, I can't blame the defense, number 1 or number 2 or number 3 or number 4. They were the reason why you got to this point.
I'm going to blame where was the pass rush?
That's why it's number 5.
I mean, I mean, you can't blame them.
I have it as number 5.
No, but you can't blame
but I won't have him as 1 through 4.
Okay. Patullo, number 1, he had the most direct fingerprints on the crime scene. Sirianni's the one who hired him. Sirianni's the one who can't help fix it. Sirianni's the one who gave everybody an extra week's rest, an extra week of preparation. That really paid off, didn't it?
I still think it's irrelevant.
It wasn't, because they said it wasn't. They claimed it was going to mean something. They claimed that it was going to be worthwhile.
If they played, I don't think they're scoring points.
No, they claimed that the extra week was going to be extra preparation was going to count too. I can point to 4 different times they mentioned that. All the extra preparation was going to matter too. No, it didn't. So those 2 right there, 1-2. A.J. Brown 3, Blankenship 4, Cam Jurgens 5.
Connor?
Cam Jurgens got Saquon blown up in the second half.
Yeah, I went Patullo 1, Sirianni 2. Patullo, obviously the bigger direct impact, but Sirianni's got to be in that conversation. Blankenship, I have at 3. I think his mistakes were more impact on the game than the other 2 players that we're going to look at, which Cam Jurgens I had at 4, and A.J. Brown I had at 5.
All right, so we're all right around the
AJ,
same
man.
area. All right, yeah, and then he didn't speak afterward, which is
AJ running
horrible.
and hiding. Like all the other players just standing there and
No, that was a bad look. That's bad. You're a captain.
And I got another one of these emails. Look, he's protecting his own mental health. Yeah, you know what he does? Then when he runs to Instagram and he runs to Twitter and he goes and starts veiled attacks on other people, what's he doing and what is he caring about their mental health? You need to stop with this crap of trying to do this. Well, he's protecting his own mental health while he's attacking somebody else's. Give it a rest.
Yeah, he can't.
Give it an absolute rest.
Ultimately, he's a captain. Okay,
he's running and hiding.
He is a
what he
captain.
is. Give it a rest.
He can't do that. My gosh. He can't do that yesterday. And even Andrew DeCecco, who was very supportive of A.J. Brown and how he went about his business this year, even Andrew DeCecco said, yeah, you're a captain. You can't run and hide. Well, A, because the season ended. Right, that's number one.
Right.
But 2, you're one of the biggest reasons why you lost yesterday because of your drops. Like, you can't have a bad game, run and hide. You weren't upset with the offense. You were upset with yourself, and you didn't want to face the music. The offense was there for A.J. The ball was thrown to A.J. A.J. got his targets. A.J. had his chances. It was A.J. Brown who had the bad game. 7 targets yesterday. 3 of them were dropped passes. He had 3 catches. He had 3 drops. All right, let's go to Drayton in North Carolina. What's up, Drayton?
Hey, how we doing?
Hey, man.
We're here.
Not good is the answer.
Yeah, we're alive. That's nice.
Hey, we are live. Hey, listen, I'm tired of the it's ludicrous to fire Nick Sirianni topic. The guy can't hire anybody to save his life. And with the roster that Howie has built for him, literally any idiot should be able to win as many games as Nick Sirianni has. The guy vomits of the mouth every time he's at a press conference or anything. He can't get anything out. He can't hire. I know I just said that, but fire him, fire Patullo, keep Vic. And
Drayton, to your point with the press conferences, again, we'll play it after your call. When he was asked why this continued, these second half woes, his immediate answer was, I don't know. And that's the problem. Like,
it's incredible. Yeah, he came out with it fast.
We realize that you don't know. And that's a problem. Like, you're the head coach. You're supposed to fix these things. And your immediate response was, I don't know.
Exactly. What a clown.
All right, we appreciate the call, Dre. And let's hear it. This was Nick Sirianni after the game. So he was first asked about the issues that happened in the second half yesterday. And he did have like a legitimate answer where he said, it's been an issue that's plagued us all season long. Like, he admitted, finally admitted, not like, oh, you guys are missing a few things here. It's what we want to do. Like, he admitted that it was an issue all season long. And then somebody followed up and said, well, why is it an issue? And this was his answer.
I don't know. Obviously, those are things that we always work our ass off to try to fix any situation and every situation that we can. And you know what? At the end of the day, we didn't do a good enough job of doing that. And that starts with me.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I remember being a teenager and doing a lot of dumb stuff. And my dad would pull me aside. I'd be in trouble. Why'd you do that? And there were times where I said, I don't know. And that was never the right answer. I get smacked upside the head until I finally gave the real answer.
That was never an answer that was accepted.
But I was also 16. So I may have not have known because my brain wasn't fully developed and I'm still trying to figure out if it is. But when the head coach of the football team drops an answer of I don't know after losing a playoff game, when this issue had been an issue all season long, and your answer is I don't know, that's actually the answer.
Because
he doesn't know.
He came out with it so fast.
That's a problem.
That is a problem.
He got hired as an offensive mind.
If Jeffrey Lurie, the billionaire, has a corporation, and his CEO says to him, wow, Earnings are way, way down. What's going on? I don't know. He'd be fired. He would be fired. So this is really a problem that has to be worked out.
Well, that was so in 2023 when I wanted to move on from Sirianni, it was basically what you just said. For 2 months, the team was spiraling out of control. The playoff game, they had the exact same offense. They didn't change anything. They lost. And I was like, well, imagine going to your bosses after quarters 3 and quarters 4. What are you going to do to start the new year? Oh, the same thing. That would get people fired. He kept his job. They won a Super Bowl. Congratulations. I don't think anybody is crazy for thinking, I wonder, what if? I'm not doing it, but I don't think it's crazy. Let's go to Sean in West Philly. What's up, Sean?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What's up, Sean?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, man, thanks for being here this morning because, just wanted to vent, man. These guys lead an egg, man. And it definitely starts with Sirianni and whatever the offensive coordinator name is. I don't jack it up.
Kevin Patullo.
Oh, Patullo, not a Chulo. Either way, Matt, I am going to be saying his name too many more times once he get fired. But we just stunk all year, really, man. We never really got it together offensively, and that's on coaching. That's got to be Nick Nurse.
Yeah, I mean, it was all. You know what's going to be amazing, Sean? You just said it like you're not going to have to think of his name whenever he gets fired. What's going to be interesting is what teams clamor to hire Kevin Patullo. Right? It was the same thing.
Nobody.
It was the same thing with Brian Johnson. He got hired, but he got hired as a quarterbacks coach. I'm not saying Kevin Patullo can't be on a sideline and can't work on a staff. Like
he might be like Brian Johnson, as you say. Brian Johnson does things that are very good.
He might be
you gave him an offensive coordinator position when he never did it.
I understand that. Yeah, but he can't be the coordinator. I mean, come on.
No, he's terrible.
He's just was bad. And then when he wasn't bad, like when there was a good play call, then that's on Hurts. And then, that don't work out. So, it's just all around, like if you guys doing your list, I definitely would say Hurts belong on there at 5. Not that he played a bad game yesterday. He could have played better, and he wasn't special. And then sometimes in the playoffs, you got to be special.
Yeah, no, you have to be. And like Josh Allen yesterday was special, and thanks for the call, Sean.
How about Josh Allen? Just go with every single one of them. Matt Stafford, less than 4 minutes, trailing, needed a touchdown. Got it. Saturday night, Caleb Williams, needed a touchdown, less than 4 minutes. Got it. I mean, it's just, and then we saw Josh Allen yesterday. Got it. Jalen Hurts had the opportunity, couldn't get it. Now, unfortunately, he needed a touchdown because of the fact that his kicker couldn't do it. And again, it points to the same thing that I always harp on. Little things don't matter until they matter. Yep. And he killed, and they knew it. I knew it would kill them. I knew he was going to crush them at some point, and he was terrible. Jake Elliott, and just not moving on from Jake Elliott. And there are kickers, there are college kickers, tons of them, who routinely make the kicks that he can't make. And these guys don't make it to the NFL. They're out there. You can bring them in. Routinely, guys don't make it to the NFL, and they routinely can make kicks that this guy cannot make.
You know what's amazing? Sean just said the bad plays were Patullo's and the good plays were Hurts's. And it's funny, like the Vikings game was that. Like I stand by it.
Yeah, ad-libbed.
I stand by it. The Vikings, and that's why I said on Friday Jalen Hurts needs to be Superman because he has to overcome the incompetency of the offensive coordinator. I'm not saying Superman for 300 yards. I'm saying Superman overcome the incompetency of the offensive coordinator. And I know our friends on Unfiltered push back on it, saying that's unfair to only give credit to the players when they play well and to rip the coordinator when they play poorly. But tell me the game where that wasn't a factor.
Well, I hope, and we heard it from an earlier caller, if Unfiltered has any defense for Kevin Patullo today, if the evidence, the jury is in, guys, the jury is in. Turn out the lights on the Kevin Patullo defense. The jury has in. The verdict is in. Guilty. Guilty. Stop defending the man.
Yeah.
Stop trying to find. Scooby-Doo is not going to unmask somebody else.
It's really just a matter of
stop.
It's a matter of when at this point. When he gets relieved of his duties.
Exactly. He's killing us.
Yeah,
and he killed us.
Can't kill us anymore because he's gone.
Yeah, well,
let's hope. He's not done yet.
We don't have. I'll do double propeller hat. If Kevin Patullo is the offensive coordinator, I'll be walking with Ray Dunn.
We're hoping.
All right, give us a couple text messages. We've gone away from a lot of people wanted to voice their frustration. We will get to more calls, I promise, but I do want to check the text. What we got?
All right, Jeff from Broomwall checks in and says the one player happy with A.J. Brown's performance yesterday is Cam Jurgens because A.J. redirected the spotlight away from him. Jurgens sucked yesterday, and he sucked all season. How he needs to seriously look for a new center because he's not cutting it.
It was absolutely a terrible game. Yeah. And in the second half, he got blown up so much in the run game that for whatever reason, though, he held up in the pass game. Like, his pass blocking held up, but in run block, he was getting run over. Yeah. And Saquon was paying the price every time. It was terrible.
Saquon actually had a pretty good game.
Until the second half, he really, they were just all over him because of that.
Right.
It's terrible.
By the way, did you see the Richard Sherman tweet last night?
What's he got to
say?
That's the dumb. You saw it? All
unbelievable.
Right.
What he got to say now? Was Richard Sherman trying to physically attack his in-laws last night?
No,
all right.
No.
Break it? Well, no, not all right. The man's a
that has nothing to do with this conversation.
The man needs to pipe down.
I'm just trying to get to his football tweet.
Yeah, the man needs to pipe down.
Eagles fans called me a hater because I said this Eagles offense would struggle, but here we are. The playmakers are there, but the scheme isn't.
Yeah.
Tell me the person that didn't say that the Eagles offense sucked and has sucked and will probably continue to suck.
So stop making up fake things to talk about Richard Sherman.
I quote tweeted and I asked, "Are those Eagles fans in the room with you right now?"
Because
I don't know. I don't know who was.
Who were you talking about, Richard Sherman? Maybe you missed that during one of your breaks, one of your psychotic breaks. You missed that. Right. I don't know what you're making up.
Sorry, I brought it up. Let's go to Robert in North Carolina. What's up, Robert?
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, buddy?
I won't say what's going on because we're all the same this morning. Right? We're all feeling the same. But real quick, I got a comment and a question. First, it starts with Nick, coming back to him. AJ's number 2, and the only reason why AJ's number 2 is because earlier in the season, he had a press conference where he said, I just want to be here to help the guys. Like, we got to fix this. And then he had a chance to help us last night, and he totally blew it, and I'm over it, right? I mean, I'd love to keep him. I think he's a great asset, but he's got to go. My question, though, is this. Since Nick's staying, which I want him out of here, I don't agree that we should keep him. We need to give him the Doug Peterson treatment. But how long is his leash next year? How long is next year he's going to be?
Next year's next year would be put up or shut up because he's had 2 disastrous teams that were loaded that failed miserably that should never have crashed and burned. So next year would be it's on the line. Absolutely would be on the line in my opinion.
Whole season on the line?
Yes. They're not going to. They're not making any. They're not making any moves during the season.
Won't fire him.
They're not doing that.
Larry doesn't do that.
No, he's not doing that.
Yeah. All right. That's all I wanted to know.
All right, Robert. Look, I get it. It's a day of frustration. It's a day of anger. It's a day of emotion, and we're going to go over the top. Nick Sirianni will be back next year.
And he deserves to be
But Nick
back.
Sirianni, I don't believe, will or deserves to hire the next offensive coordinator. He could sit outside of the room for all I care. And they'll open the door and they'll say, not this guy, or they'll open the door and say, Nick, come meet your new offensive coordinator. Like, I don't even need him to be a part of the hiring process.
I don't want him to be. No. And I want them to say, this is the way the offense is going to be. Keep your hands. Look, Vic Fangio. Nick Sirianni does not tell Vic Fangio how the defense is going to be played. There's no reason. There's no reason why they can't hire an offensive coordinator and give them the same wide berth to say, this is the way the offense is going to be run.
It's pretty simple. We have the guardrails for how this Eagles equation works. Very much like Jalen Hurts should not throw more than 30-some times a game, or you're going to find a way to lose, because that's not what he does well. Nick Sirianni should not be involved in the offense play calling and should not be involved in hiring the offensive play caller because he doesn't do it well enough. You've had success when you do that. The question is, does the organization have the stones to tell a guy who won you the Super Bowl last year, you're cut out?
Yeah, I mean, look, I understand where DeCecco is coming from. We had him on, and he was saying, look, be careful what you wish for because the next offensive coordinator is still going to have to be Sirianni's scheme. If I'm Howie Roseman, I don't freaking care what Sirianni wants. Because, to your point, they have given him a loaded roster. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's also lost in the first round 3 times. Now, the first time, totally different.
Yeah, first time, there's nothing.
Year 1 hurts. So, I almost don't count that one. It's years 2 through 4. They've been to 2 Super Bowls, won 1. They've been eliminated in the first round twice. And all 4 years, you had a Super Bowl-level roster. All 4 years, you had a Super Bowl-level roster. You were able to get to it twice. You got eliminated in the first round twice. And the 2 times you got eliminated, Nick Sirianni was the guy that anointed an offensive coordinator. Well, Brian Johnson at least did it in college. Kevin Patullo never did it, ever. There's too much friendship. There's too much relationship. Who does Jalen want? All that kind of stuff. If I'm Howie Roseman, I'm saying this is what I want. Because what I have wanted has actually gotten us into these positions.
Correct.
It's Howie Roseman's show. Everybody knows it. Sirianni wins, so they give him the opportunity to pick his guy, and he picked his guy, unfortunately, and his guy sucked.
I don't know how. And I'll tell you, though, Howie maybe should have made that list. Because if I was smart enough all summer to say, all offseason to say, how does a guy stay on an NFL staff for 17 years and not get hired as an offense coordinator when the average play caller in the NFL usually is on a staff for between 5 and 6 years before they get to call plays? Like, how are the bells not going off?
Yeah, 18 years. All right, coming up next, more of your calls and texts, I promise. But also, a loss like yesterday starts the clock of how long it takes until Patullo gets fired. Many will celebrate that, myself included. It also starts the clock on an offseason where there is a lot of uncertainty. Now, we're not going to break down who's back on the other side, but you will hear from players who spoke about their future or some of their teammates' futures. Here's some players from their locker room next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. All right, let's talk about the Corona. Andrew Salciunas here. Come hang out with me and my friends from Corona this Friday, January 16th at Nick's Bar and Grill. I love it there. It's a great spot. We did an event there last year. It was so much fun that I went back just as a patron because I loved it there so much. So check it out. Located on 2nd Street in Philly from 6 to 8. Sixers pregame party. You don't want to miss. It's probably good for us all to get together and talk out this Birds loss while also getting ready for a Sixers game because now it's time to start focusing on our winter teams a lot earlier than what a lot of people expected. I'll be there getting ready for tip-off. We got great drink specials all night long in the city. You can't beat $5 Corona and Corona Light bottles plus $6 Modelo pints. The perfect way to kick off your Sixers night. And the best part is you can win a pair of tickets to an upcoming home game. So grab your friends, come to Nick's Bar and Grill, hang with us from 6 to 8 this Friday night. It's the Fanatics Sixers pregame party hosted by me, Andrew Salciunas, in partnership with Corona. Must be 21 plus. Please drink responsibly. For more details, visit 975thefanatic.com, and we'll see you there.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles out in the first round. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles' dream of defending their title ended yesterday evening as the 49ers came into Lincoln Financial Field, beat the defending champs 23-19. The Eagles' offense scored only twice in the second half, neither of them touchdowns. 6 points on 2 Jake Elliott field goals, once again failing to put together a complete game. Defense didn't have their best day either, allowing 361 total yards to the Niners' offense. Nick Sirianni met with the media and talked about the offensive struggles.
Felt like that was kind of our story as the year progressed. Good first half, didn't do a good enough job coaching, didn't do a good enough job executing in the second half. Some penalties got us behind the sticks. We had a hard time overcoming them.
Unfortunately, the offseason now begins for the Birds, who have some big-time questions to answer. What will happen with offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo's job status? The future of some key players on the roster whose contracts are up are also up in the air. We'll keep you updated on the fallout from the first-round exit as the offseason gets going. Sixers fell to the Raptors 116-115 in overtime last night. They'll play Toronto in Toronto again tonight at 7:30. You can hear that game live here on the Fanatic. Flyers host the Lightning at 7 p.m. You can hear that game on WMMR. So a couple of games to hopefully take your mind off of what happened yesterday at Lincoln Financial Field. I'm Connor Thomas for your home of the Sixers, Flyers, the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hey, as much as today sucked, I really appreciate all of you. Everybody that's called in today, everybody that has texted in today, everybody that has watched on YouTube today. We appreciate all of you for being a part of the Kincade and Salciunas family. Not a fun day.
No, not
today,
fun.
But usually during hard times, family comes together. So I appreciate that we've been able to come together on this Football Monday. We thank you. And it continues. We don't just stop doing the show after a loss. We continue Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then next week and the week after that, all the way until next season when we talk ourselves back into another Super Bowl appearance. All right. Might not be next season here for a couple of players. So obviously after a game like last night, most players speak to the media, unlike A.J. Brown, who ran and hid. And I love A.J. Brown, but that is such a weak move when you had the bad game that you had, when you caused the drama. He caused it, right?
Bottom line.
He caused the drama that happened the majority of times this year, and then the season comes to an end. You had a big reason why the season came to an end, and you ran and hit. I thought that was really weak of him to do that. But other players did speak to the media yesterday. Here was Jordan Mailata, not about himself, but a player. I guess they came into the league together. Here he is talking about Dallas Goedert.
Man, I had a moment with Dallas, and I wasn't crying until I saw him. So we've been together for 8 years, and, man, we just played a lot of ball together. So a lot of time in the locker room, and so that one was hard for me. I don't know what's going to happen next year. I hope we bring him back, but yeah, he was one face definitely immediately after the game that I had to stay away from because I would just cry.
You know how much I wanted Dallas Goedert back. He will not be back next year. I can't see it.
You really go full so absolutely.
He's going to get a multi-year deal. Number one, the Eagles didn't even want to give him a one-year deal. Second reason, they need to start paying money to the defense. I don't think there's another player on offense that's going to get paid anytime soon, unless they redo a deal with like Jalen Hurts or something. For the most part, the new money is going to the younger defensive players.
Okay,
I can't see a 3-year deal. Or two. I don't know. I don't know what the market will be for Dallas Goedert.
I don't think Dallas Goedert's getting more than a 2-year. I think he's getting 2 from somebody. I don't think he's getting 3.
I think that was the last year of Dallas Goedert in the Eagles. I feel very uncomfortable saying it, but comfortable saying it because I'm uncomfortable because I don't know who's taking over.
Oh, you should be uncomfortable.
The reason why the borderline devastated comment ever happened was because usually they had a plan in place for Selleck. Well, even before Selleck. For Chad Lewis, they had L.J. Smith, just didn't work out. Then they had Selleck. For Selleck was Zach Ertz. For Zach Ertz was Dallas Goedert. For Dallas Goedert, they have not had anybody. And that's a problem, especially when tight end in Philadelphia is catcher to the Phillies, right? You just know that they have it. And unfortunately, we don't know what's next at tight end. So that was Mailata on Dallas Goedert. Here was Nakobe Dean on himself.
For me, it's like I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, a couple of months. So it's like I don't know if I'm going to play with the guys that I done played with for 4 years or I had a good relationship with or the guys that I went to school with and I was playing. So I'm kind of going through all them emotions. But, yeah.
That's another player I don't think is back.
I don't think he's back.
It's a shame because remember at one point.
Well, you just drafted his replacement with a first-round pick.
Right, but at one point he's playing so well that we were like, oh, my God, you can't let this guy leave. And then what happened again? He got hurt.
Yeah, and you can't.
It's been the same story every year.
He can't commit. He doesn't hold up.
And it's a shame because I love him.
You know?
I think he's a tremendous player. He's a tremendous leader. He is fantastic in the community. And that's something that I think, obviously gets overlooked because we watch on Sundays. But, he's great in the community. And that may have been the last game for Nakobe Dean. Here was his Georgia teammate and also his Eagles teammate, Jordan Davis, talking about Dean.
Y'all know better than anybody how much I love Nakobe. Came in here together, and it's, like you said, it's uncertain. We love to have everybody come back, and, we love to have his face and his leadership and his poise and his effort and just everything about him, the way he plays the game. But, it's just the NFL. I'm not here to make decisions. I'm only here to play and move forward. But, it's unfortunate that, it's just how the nature of the beast. It's the league. You could be here today and gone tomorrow, but love that man, like a brother. That's all I can say right now.
Yeah.
Nakobe's gone.
It seems like.
Now, the thing is, though, is that I'm not as quick on Dallas. Even a conversation I had yesterday, I'm not as quick on Dallas.
Okay. I hope I'm wrong.
No, I know you. Oh, I know you hope you're wrong because you were the person who last year when I was much more casual about, bring him back. I want him back, but I'm not dying if he doesn't come back. You were adamant. You were borderline devastated if he left. And guess what? If he hadn't been here this year, we would have been borderline devastated watching the playoffs on TV.
Who knows what this?
No, they wouldn't even have made the playoffs.
I'll be honest. I was borderline devastated watching the playoffs yesterday.
No, but
but
you
I didn't have a good time
but,
yesterday.
Excuse me, you were with the people from Corona at a great spot, though.
That's true.
So you still at least had a good time there. But I'm not so quick on Goddard, and they can make money. They can make money work. But Nakobe and Reed Blankenship, I think, are both, played their last game.
By the way, real quick before we get back to the phone, so Dan Orlovsky obviously having a field day with the Eagles offense on social media
as he
yesterday
should.
and today, as he should.
Yeah.
The Eagles after halftime yesterday. What were some of the key, the buzzwords that we talked about this year?
Predictability.
Yeah. Under center.
Yes.
The Eagles lined up under center 7 times in the second half yesterday. They ran the ball all 7 times. Mm-hmm. Predictable. That was a problem midway through the season. It continued in the playoffs.
Of course it did.
That's asinine. And that's why when Sirianni says, why has it been an issue all season long? And his answer is, I don't know. That's a problem.
I can't believe how quickly he said, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. That should be Jeffrey Lurie's first question in the end of the season meeting with Nick should be that. I don't know.
But,
I don't know.
But the thing is, he was telling the truth.
Yeah, but no.
It's like
after 19 weeks, training camp, off season, your answer is I don't know. Dude,
my son asks me, Dad, what dinosaur is this? I go, I don't know, because I don't know. I'm not a paleontologist.
Got to up your game.
Nick Sirianni is the head coach of a football team that's supposed to have an offensive background. The fact that he says I don't know is horrible. Oh, man. Let's go to Michael. And Coach Mike. What's up, Coach Mike? You're on Kincade Salciunas. Can you punch him up, Connor? My phone's frozen. What else? Kind of like the Eagles' offense froze in the second half. Go ahead, Coach Mike.
Hey, guys. What's up? I already know that you guys are feeling it just like we're feeling it, but I had the silver lining. And the silver lining is I think part of our downfall has been we've made it through late in the postseason so many times that we didn't get a jump start on hiring new coaches. So that's the silver lining I'm throwing out there. We get a jump start on finding the replacement for both Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo. There's one thing that I keep hearing you guys say, and it's, Sirianni can stay if he keeps his hands off the offense, if we find an offensive coordinator that's more like a Vic Fangio who's going to take control and kind of, push him out of the offensive staff room. But in those cases, and if that is why you want to keep Nick Sirianni, just to be the CEO coach, what does he bring in that role? Because the players don't respect him.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Completely. You're not speaking. You are not speaking. You are not speaking from a position of knowledge because that is not true.
There's 2 instances that I want you guys to remember or I want you guys to talk about where we clearly see a disrespect. The one is after the Bills game when they're going through the tunnel at the end and A.J. Brown's looking at him like,
don't use AJ. Don't use AJ as the example.
How about this? I'll use Hurts. I'll use Jalen Hurts. The first time that I knew that there was an issue was when we were in the Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni's looking into the stands, laughing and pointing, and Hurts taps him like, "Yo, coach."
Yeah, but Mike,
you are speaking totally recklessly because the players in that locker room do not. They do respect Nick Sirianni, and they do have a lot of close relationship. That can be the. Hold on, I let you speak. That can be the answer. But you made the claim that the players don't respect him. That is complete. That is completely false. You are 100%. You are 100% wrong. You are 100% wrong. And
so why do you have players? Why do you have players going against his word?
Because you know what? You used A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts as examples. And A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, the quarterback is as Confucius as they come. And A.J. Brown is as temperamental and has conducted himself like a 16-year-old girl on Instagram this year with his
Why do you have your franchise quarterback in the offseason going to other coaches to ask for their advice?
How come the defensive linemen don't do this with him? How come the offensive linemen don't do it with him?
They respect.
No, because
they don't have to deal with Nick Sirianni.
You're incorrect. You're so off base. You're so off base. You can't be. Mike, you could not. Mike, you're not there, Mike. Mike, you're not there.
We appreciate the call.
You're off base, Mike. You're off base. This is not correct. You're off base. That is not correct. His play, whether you agree or not that they should be, is different. That's different. That's different. You may dislike the guy, you may dislike things, but that's not correct. Whether you like him or not, his players like him a lot. A lot of his players like him a real lot. They would fight. They'd go in a bar fight for him.
Yeah. Look, now somebody asked, well, they may not respect his X's and O's acumen.
Maybe they don't.
That's fine. I mean, AJ made that abundantly clear, but there's a respect for Nick. Look,
and leave AJ out of it because AJ has his own agenda all year long.
All right, coming up next, a couple more texts and calls. Middays with Marks comes your way at 10 o'clock. Sean Brace on the show with Johnny today. Also, Nick Sirianni was asked about explosive plays yesterday. He gave an answer that I had to laugh at, so I didn't cry. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. It is 9:47 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Middays with Marks comes your way at 10 o'clock.
With Sean Brace.
With Sean Brace. Looking
That is
forward
great.
to it.
That is great news.
We will get back to some calls here momentarily. I wanted to do this during Monday morning radio host, but there was so much to be said, so many clips to be played. Nick Sirianni was talking about the passing offense and the explosive plays, and remember he doesn't know why the second half offense was bad all year. That was his answer. His answer was, I don't know. We played it for you a couple of times today, but here he is talking about the windy conditions at Lincoln Financial Field yesterday.
I think you saw the ball by both teams. I think you had Purdy on the one and an interception. It kind of died on him. I think Jalen had one on down the sideline to Jahan that kind of died on him. So we got to find ways to create explosives a different way. If you can't do it that way, again, didn't do a good enough job there. Starts with me as coaches, and then we didn't execute well enough.
Again, I'm not going to dispute the fact that it was windy. You were there. It
was
pretty
windy.
Really windy. The goalposts
windy.
were shifting left and right. But he's talking about how we got to find different ways to get explosive plays. It's almost like he's saying that after the fact, like. You step on the field, you grab the grass, you throw it up in the air, you go, oh, wow, it's pretty windy today. It's almost like the clock hit 0, and he said, man, it was windy today. Next time we'll do something different. I watched the wind not be a problem for Jawan Jennings. I watched a wide receiver throw, how long was that touchdown? 30-something
30-something, had to be.
Yeah, something like that.
Downfield, through said wind, a wide receiver, to Christian McCaffrey. Again, I don't need it to be gadget plays like that every single time. But when I hear Sirianni after the game saying the wind was a factor, we got to do a better job. Like, yeah, dude, you do. I'm tired of this we got to do this, we got to do that. It's been all year. His best answer, honestly, was the one we've laughed about the most, the I don't know. That's been his best answer.
It was his most honest answer.
It was his most honest answer, and that's a problem.
By the way, don't want to apologize. Didn't want to jump Coach Mike like that, but had a text from someone very, very close to the Eagles, asking me during the break, who's this coach guy that's saying that Nick Sirianni's players don't respect him as a coach? Because he says, maybe at times, there are players that always will argue about their coach's X's and O's or debate things. But his players effing love him, and they most certainly respect him as their coach. They would absolutely fight for the man. He is beloved by his players.
Cool that Nick Sirianni's texting you during the show.
No, it wasn't Nick. I'm not Phil Colarulo. I don't get those texts. I'm not Italian.
By the way, I saw an article from Yahoo for when the time comes. The 6th best offensive coordinators available.
Oh, boy.
Kingsbury, McDaniel, Todd Monken, which actually would be interesting. He was
Coach Monken,
he was with the Ravens. Obviously, Harbaugh no longer there, so he is available.
And Georgia. He has the Georgia ties, but it's the Georgia. He was the offense at Georgia.
And also, they like to run the football in Baltimore.
Sure.
What do they like to do here?
Absolutely.
The Rams passing coordinator, Nathan Shieldhaas.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Well, it's part of that whole tree.
Exactly.
Right.
So let's give this guy an opportunity. Zach Robinson, who is the offensive coordinator of the Falcons.
No. Run away and hide.
Absolutely not. And then Kafka, who was with the Giants.
How many times is what would have made you excited?
I'd rather
about
go
that?
with the young
I would
let's
like it.
see, Let's see what we got, or like
Kingsbury or McDaniel, head coaches, play calling experience. That's where my list starts.
That's not bad, Connor.
Those are my two guys.
I like how you're thinking.
I can't go. I can't. Mike McDaniel can't be the.
I know you don't like who he is because he's nerdy.
Well, the only thing is that he did just as bad a job this year with a ton of talent.
Sure, you just had this with Kevin Patullo, who had no.
I just can't like our YouTube audience are the guys that are here every single day, right? We have a lot of people watching on YouTube today. We appreciate you. We have a community that's there every day. They hate when we overreact to press conferences. If Mike McDaniel had to speak once a week,
oh my gosh,
just be prepared. If Mike McDaniel was the offensive coordinator of the Eagles and I had to react to his press conferences once a week,
okay, he wears weird pants. But here's the bottom line:
he's weird. Period. Everything about
fine.
him.
He's weird. Bottom line is, yesterday in a postseason game, I watched Kyle Shanahan turn Kyle Juszczyk, a fullback into a replacement for a Hall of Fame tight end on the fly. And all year, I watched Kevin Patullo turn great wide receivers into fullbacks.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, though, Connor, again, Mike McDaniel did a terrible job 2 years in a row with a ton of offensive talent.
Terrible based on what you expect from a head coach of a team like that. If we're comparing him to Kevin Patullo, he is worlds better. And so is Cliff Kingsbury.
Not
worlds better than Kevin Patullo.
Not in his performance, he wasn't.
Kevin Patullo can't coach his way out of a paper bag.
I understand, but he couldn't do anything. He didn't do a thing with it.
McDaniel will get another job. Patullo won't. By the way, I already saw the Browns. By the way, Mike McDaniel got interviewed for the Browns head coaching job. I don't think he's destined to take a step back to OC. I think he's.
I don't know that he's getting a head coaching job.
What's a better job, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns or the OC of the Philadelphia Eagles?
Head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
You know why?
I could make an argument.
Because you're going to really? Okay, here's it. Offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's going to make at the most, he's going to make like $2 million. He signs as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. He's guaranteed to make $30 to $40 million. There is no discussion what's the better job.
By the way, he takes the OC job to try to get a head coaching job.
There's no discussion. 30 to 40 million guaranteed, or 2 million guaranteed.
All right,
Okay. You want to be Myles Garrett? Be my guest.
Let's go to a prime stickler in the Philadelphia area. Let's go to Lenny and Pittman. What's up, Lenny? Have at it.
I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, I just want to say it's one thing to have physical talent and God-given talent, and it's another thing to have no class. A.J. Brown is a classless person, and that stuff that he does really is a cancer to the team, and they should really address that.
Well, he's going to be moving on.
I wouldn't call him an overall classless person. I did not like what he did yesterday. I did not agree with what he did yesterday. A.J. Brown does a lot of stuff for the community, does a lot of stuff outside of football, so to call him classless is way too over the top.
Well, how about yesterday was classless behavior?
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah,
that just call it that way because he is a first class individual in a lot of other ways.
Yeah,
that was a bad moment for him yesterday, but he's had a year where he's had some really bad moments.
Yeah, well, that definitely. Yesterday was a game for the taking. That team was decimated, had no pass rush whatsoever, and Shanahan totally. That's why you pay head coaches that kind of money. He totally outcoached Sirianni.
Yeah, San Francisco Shanahan's, Lenny. I appreciate the call, man. I mean, I didn't fear the roster. I feared one man and one man only, and that one man beat the Eagles. And, well, there was a man on the Eagles that also beat themselves.
That's why, as I've told you before, Kyle Shanahan might be a terrible neighbor, but he's a brilliant head coach.
Hell of a coach,
He's a brilliant offensive mind. And if he's not the best in the NFL, I'd like to know who is.
Middays with Marsh comes your way next. Sean Brace with Johnny. The show continues tomorrow. Look, we appreciate everybody that was a part of it today. A lot of calls today. A lot of YouTube viewers today. Join us again tomorrow. It continues. We will. It's not like we're done. We talk Eagles tomorrow. It'll be more from yesterday's game, but also more about looking ahead because change is coming in Philadelphia. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning starting at 6 here on 97.5 The Fanatic.